Evening all. Welcome back to Beyond the Lane, episode 44. Angie's gone. Derby's on. Angie's gone to Forest. Fucking madness. Absolute madness, guys. I don't know what everyone thinks about that one, but I'm sure we're going to get into it tonight. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to everyone watching at home. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. And thank you for being here, unless you're watching that England match. I think it's 0-0 at the moment, but thank you guys for watching. Please get involved with your comments throughout the night. I want to hear from you. So let's welcome in our guest tonight. So we've got a debutant on the show, and we've got a West Ham fan on the show. Mike, how you doing, man? Thank you so much for coming on. How are you?
All good. Thanks for having me on. It's good to be on for the first time. But yeah, not exactly looking forward to West Ham playing again. But other than that, I'm all good, man. All good.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much. We'll put everyone's channel links in the chat throughout the night. Please subscribe and please smash the like button. Danny, how you doing, man? How are you? Thanks for coming on.
No, cheers for having me on, mate. Yeah, same stuff, different day at the moment. Different Spurs, different day, I suppose, where we got where Levy's gone, and take it from there, innit?
And yeah, cheers, man. And Cookie, how you doing, man?
Yeah, all right, man. Thanks very much. Yeah, cheers for having me on, man. Big up to everyone. Big up to everyone in the chat. And let's hope we have a good old chinwag about what's going on.
Yeah. Lots to get into, guys. And Sheriff, how are you, man? Thank you for coming on also.
No worries, man. Thanks for having me on. Always good to be on. Yeah, big up everyone. Big up the chat. Yeah, let's get into it.
I thought you'd be a bit happier tonight, guys. You're all a bit... I thought all the news from last week, you'd be buzzing. Yeah, well, we'll wait and see, eh? We'll wait and see. We'll get into it. And
Nige, it's boring.
Yeah, it is. It's been boring, mate. It has, unless you like watching England. Nige, how you doing, man? How you been?
Yeah, I'm good. Big up panel, big up chat, big up Dan. I just want to know, Sheriff, did you catch a tench today?
No.
That's why you're miserable. Okay.
Oh, but that makes sense now. Well, let's say hello to people in the chat. Let's see who's joining us tonight. Let's see who's here. Let's have a look. Let's get the chat up now. Oh, big up Mark Taylor. Big up, guys. Evening to you, Mark. How are you? Big up to Henry. How are you doing, man? Thank you for being here. Big up Marianne. Good evening, guys, and all in the chat. Evening to you. Evening to Peter. Hi, all 5:08 a.m. in Melbourne. Evening to you, Peter. Big up Luke. How you doing, man? Top effing panel, boys. Big up Mikes. And evening to Andrew. How are you doing, man? Thank you for being here. And Philly. Big up Philly. How are you doing, man? All these wonderful panelists. Big up DANalyst, Mike, Nige, the Cookmeister, the Sheriff, Danny, and everybody in the chat. Don't we suffer enough as Spurs fans without having to add England to the fold? Yeah, painful stuff watching that, man. That was a shocker at the weekend. Absolute bore fest. I don't know how it's going tonight. I think it was guys 0-0 still, is it?
It is.
Yeah, still 0-0. No surprise there then. Did you have Speds pain?
No.
No?
No, not at the moment.
Yeah, well. Yeah, don't know, man. England, hey. Anyway, guys, thank you for everyone being here and watching the show tonight. We're going to have a cracking show, lots to get into. So Spurs have just seen the end of an era. Daniel Levy has gone after 25 years in charge. We want to know what you guys really think of his reign. What was his biggest achievement, his biggest failure, and what's left you most disappointed as a Spurs fan in the past 25 years? With the new board taking over, what does the future of Tottenham Hotspur look like now? For me, Enoch don't get away scot-free. Suddenly wanting sporting success after 25 years sounds all a little bit strange. We're diving into the London derby, clash with West Ham. Whose favourites going into that one? And what we're going to expect from on the pitch on that one after international break. It's always a funny period to play a game, isn't it? And finally, if we have time, we'll see how we get on. I want to start comparing the Spurs squad to other teams kind of pushing for those European places. And if we do have time, there's a couple of teams I want to focus on today, and that is Newcastle and Forest. So if we see how we go with time, if we've got time, we'll do it. If not, we'll do it on another show. So, guys, look, massive news last Thursday. I'm sure it's a shock for many of us. I mean, there was rumours that Levy was stepping down, but no one really believed it. Now we've had a bit of time to reflect on, since last Thursday. How's everyone feeling about it? As spent a bit more time thinking about it, and you think you see it differently than you did last week. Anyone can take this one first.
I think when it comes down to this one, I think this is where I think a few of us are really going to see what the real problem was at Spurs. I think in about 12 months' time, we'll be able to see how much of a problem Levy was or how much of a problem Levy actually wasn't. I mean, I've always been Levy out because he's a very business-orientated person. And you could definitely see the focus was always more on the business than it was the football. I mean, it don't take Sherlock to work that one out. But on the other side of it, when you come to an actual chairman for what he's actually done for this club, and I try and look on things on both sides, give me a chairman out there on this planet, not just in this football, on this planet, that could do what he has done for Spurs. He basically turned this into a mid-table club at its best. Maybe we'd get a European place here and there, and we got a trophy here and there as well. But we've never been one of the big boys for winning leagues or nothing. I mean, we've won the league twice, for God's sake. I think Sheffield Wednesday have won the league as many times as us, yeah? With a stadium that ended up was at the point, yes, there was a lot of emotion behind the stadium and that, but was absolutely falling to pieces as well. He has managed to do in 24 years what I don't see capable of any other doing. And that is turning us into the 8th biggest club, richest club on the planet. We're one of the best stadiums on the planet, one of the best training facilities on the planet, one of the only clubs on the planet that can sustain itself without having to win things or even sell players and still have a little bit of pocket money to spend. Whereas literally even people like Chelsea and others, they need to have an income revenue through selling players or selling youth or winning things and getting in that Champions League regular and whatever. You can't take it away from the man. On the business side, what he has done for us is not far off a miracle. I mean, to get us to the 8th biggest club in the world, basically, and win 2 trophies in the process. So you've got to give the man credit where credit is due at the end of the day, whether you like him, whether you want to blame him for everything, whether you want to put him at fault for everything. When it comes to the football side, he just didn't have it and should have had someone else to do that job for him. At one stage, I think the football bit worked for him, the business side on the football side and that. But then it got to that point where I think it just got to basically football outgrew him. He was out of his depth. He was used to dealing with millionaires. Now, all of a sudden, he was dealing with multi-billionaires and still thought he was in control. Still always thought he could get his little bit out of it. Still always thought that when it come to a transfer, he'd try and win that extra 500,000 off the deal, basically, and not for the sake of Spurs, more for the sake of, say, he could walk off with a little smug look on his face because he used to get off on it. You could blatantly see that a mile off. And it got to the point where nobody liked him. Nobody liked doing business with him. He really had no links left or anything like that, because just literally, even if you read Ferguson's autobiography, in both of them, he blatantly states he never ever wanted to even speak to the man again, let alone do business with him again. And yeah, on the football side, he just never hardly ever seemed to get it right, apart from the fact that he turned us into a stable football club, in the aspect of more times than not, we'd end up in Europe and everything else. But that was seems to be as far as he ever wanted to take us. He never usually seemed to want to take us that step further. But then the question is with it, people talk about the pyramid effect, everything else, and the DNA, it comes from the top, runs through Spurs and everything else and that, and that's why we're not winners and the wrong people get employed and everything else. Levy weren't the top man. There was still someone else above Levy, and that's Lewis, or the Lewis family, whatever way you want to put it. So I think now in the next 12 months is where you see someone's going to come in and put some money in to the club, or the club's going to get bought over. The fact that they've said they're not for sale, that's just total PR bullshit. Anyone's for sale. Anybody has a price. But I think in 12 months' time, this is where we find out how, like I said, how much of a problem Levy was, or how much of a problem Levy actually wasn't. Only time will tell. The last bit I'll say on it is the reason I reckon he went on the business side of things. I think it's been planned up for about six months to a year, been slowly ticking on through it. I don't think it happened within a matter of like all of a sudden he got the phone call and got told you're going to leave, basically. And I think they might have realised that he's taken Spurs as far as they can on the business side. And they've also taken Spurs pretty much as far as they can on the business side as well. On the business side of it, how much further can Spurs go? They can't really, unless they get those hotels up, fine. Or they end up having 60 events instead of 30 events there. Apart from that, you really can't take Spurs anywhere further on the business side. To get Spurs bigger and to get more money into this club now, you've now got to focus on the sports side to make us bigger as a football club, not just a bloody business. You make us bigger as a football club now. You now start getting higher income through sponsors and things like that. But until we go up on the football side now, I think we've actually hit our peak as such on the business side. And I think Lewis and that might have realised it, or coming into it want to sell up. Only time will tell.
No, fair points, Dan. Very fair points. I mean, you're looking at it very objectively, right? From, two sides of the things. Because I know you're not happy with Levy. I don't know what fan can be happy with Levy with the lack of success we've had over the last 25 years. Yes, there's been some good stuff. Before I give my say on it, does anybody else want to come in after what Dan said? And I want to hear from Mike as well, what his thoughts on Daniel Levy is shortly as well. So I'm sure someone else is keen to get going with that. Who wants to go?
I was waiting for Cookie to speak.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'll go. So,
Well, yeah.
I mean,
You go first.
Mine's more from a personal thing. As you know, I haven't been to the ground since Levy took over. I don't think he's the whole problem. Like Dan said, you've still got ENIC to not necessarily worry about, but to see what they're going to do going forward. I think you have to give them that chance to see if it is going to change or not. And again, like Dan said, to see if Levy was the problem or to see if ENIC and Levy were the problem. I am and I always will be just as much ENIC out as I was Levy out. But Levy out was my first thing, and him going has allowed me to go and watch my team again, or it will do, after 25 years. So that's from a personal point of view. From everyone's point of view, it's just going to be a big change, isn't it? We're either going to get sold, or again, I can only echo what Dan says. We're going to carry on as we are. We're going to get investment, maybe, and we'll have to see where they go as far as on the pitch is concerned. Excuse me. I know a lot of people are concerned with both. What's going on upstairs and what's going on the pitch. As I've said to all of you many times before, yeah, that stuff is important up there. Yeah, but I don't get into that too much. I'm more worried about what's going to go on the football pitch. And again, like Dan says, I think you've got to give it 12 months. You've got to give it the January window. You've got to give it next summer's window. See if they act any differently. Yeah, because we all know there's going to be money available. And see where it goes from there. But I'm delighted that he's gone. They've just got to make the next step, whatever that may be, has got to be the right step for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
Again, good points, man. Should we, Sheriff, before we go to you, let's go to Mike, and because I know Mike's not happy with his board.
England won up, by the way.
Yeah. Who scored?
Harry Kane.
I thought he weren't playing.
Apparently he is. I obviously didn't see him in the lineup.
Okay. Right. Great stuff. 1-0. Mike, what are you saying, man? Like, I know, I've been listening to you, and you're not happy with the board, and when you look across to Spurs and what they've done in the past 25 years under Levy, from a kind of outsider's perspective, another fan, what do you think about him?
Yeah, like, biased aside, I've always kind of feel like there's some unearth potential almost every time I look at Tottenham, like season in, season out sort of thing, where I feel like you were always nearly there to achieving what you want to achieve or achieving what you're being promised to achieve, but you got your whole board holding you back, and obviously Levy being a face of that as an outsider, like obviously not being as invested as you guys are into your club, always thinking that he's the only problem, not really realizing about what ENIC actually is. I think you guys have obviously hit the nail on the head. You guys know your club more than me about like the business side and stuff as well. He's done really well in that sense, but still at the same time, like I completely understand why people aren't happy with the job he's done just in general from just like a footballing aspect as well. It feels like a lot of off the pitch focus is overdone the whole on the pitch focus as well. I don't know whether it's going to change anything. I'm not too sure because again, don't really know the whole dynamics between the board like that. But it's going to be interesting to see if anything does change in like the direction you may or may not want to go in terms of the next year or so. I feel like he's done some good, but overall, like I can completely understand why everyone would be happy to see the back of him, for sure. Because like having looking at like my club, for example, it's just like even if one of our board members go, I know that another one's going to take over that no one particularly likes and doesn't particularly know what they're doing either. So I don't know whether it's the same feeling there or not. But it's going to be interesting as like he's not the face of the club anymore. So I'm interested to see whether Tottenham are going to complete like different direction after that, whether it's going to be the same mob because it's still some of the same board members that have the same views or not. But yeah, I can understand why there's positives to look back at that, but I would also understand if there's like angry at other fans pretty much painting the whole picture as like, oh, he did so much good now that he's gone sort of thing, where they were probably complaining about him as well sort of thing.
So where do you think Levy's gone wrong then? You know, because 2 trophies in 25 years, 17 years before last season. You know, where's he gone wrong, Mike? Just your observation on it. Why haven't we got over the line on all those occasions when we've been close or semi-finals, finals, a transfer business? What is it in your eyes?
I think it's a lack of consistency within the direction, especially in my lifetime watching Tottenham. I think obviously before Levy, you were more successful. Like before, you've got a history. You've won trophies in the past where you've had successful reigns under different eras of managers, etc. I think the problem is with like Daniel Levy, especially from someone who's like in charge of all the footballing decisions, going from the managers you've gone to and the type of squads you've gone to. It's like we don't know what the direction is from an outsider perspective of what Tottenham are trying to do on a consistent basis, like year in, year out, of what the team is looking like on the pitch and stuff like that as well. Because as we've addressed already, like off the pitch, cool, we know what you've transitioned to, and the stadium's really nice. You've got all the businesses running around it, etc. But on the pitch, it feels like a lot of chopping and changing in direction that's fine. I don't actually think there's anything wrong with like sacking managers, etc. As long as the next appointment makes sense alongside that, because it comes to a point where the squad becomes so meshed up that there's so many different profiles of players from previous different managers that don't fit in with each other, and then there's no initiative from the board to go and rebuild that whole thing within the manager's image or within the director's image above, whether to make it look like somewhat cohesive or whatever. So I feel like it's been very difficult in like transitioning from an era where you could become successful to get it over the line. So I personally think it's a case of when Levy has run all the footballing decisions, there's been a lack of consistency with his decision making, and a lot of your transfer strategy, for me, from an outside perspective, comes from like market opportunities rather than wanting a certain type of player for a certain way of playing football or whatever.
He's always wanted stability, basically, isn't he? He's like, again, that is what we are, probably one of the, if not the most stable club on the planet, basically, when it comes to the business side of things and how the clubs. If you want to be honest, we're probably one of, again, if not the best run club on the planet. I mean, tell me a club that's actually better run unless you just go on to the football side of it, basically. But we all know these days, football and business, if anything, sadly, I think the business side is bigger than the sports side these days, because it does all come down to the money at the end of the day. That is what it's all about. I mean, if you really want your club to improve and you really want your club to become something, it's not about winning trophies. It's not about winning FA Cups and League Cups. If I'm going to be totally honest, FA Cups and League Cups are totally irrelevant, really. except to a couple of us who are cheer over it. If you actually want your club to become something, what's going to get you further? Finishing Champions League 5 years on the trot, or finishing 10th 5 years on the trot and winning the FA Cup 5 times on the trot? The FA Cup's irrelevant, except it gets you the Europa Cup and a little bit of pocket money. Same as the League Cup, basically. Whereas finishing in the top 4, top 5, getting Champions League consistently, that's where the money comes in. That's where the players start coming in. Players aren't going to come to clubs just because they won an FA Cup. Players want to play in Champions Leagues and things like that. And this is where the business side has destroyed the football side of it, basically. Now, if you've got an owner, or we have owners who want to take us somewhere now, they've got to focus on getting us in the Champions League for the next 3 years on the trot, 4 years on the trot. Whether we win an FA Cup or not in between, yeah, that's all good. I'd love us to, but at the end of the day, if you want to make your club big, FA Cups and League Cups are totally irrelevant to football now. And that is purely because the business side is bigger than the sports side, in my opinion. Not that I like it that way, by the way. I still want to win things, but at the end of the day, what one's going to get you further? Finishing 10th and 5 FA Cups, or finishing 4th for 5 years?
Yeah, that's why I've related to some form of like even though you've been way more successful than we have, like the frustration of Spurs fans towards the owner, because at least like from a business standpoint, you're run really well. Whereas so our owners, we're not even run good off the pitch or on the pitch. So it's a case of like either way, we haven't got anything to look forward to or like anything to look towards where at least we're stable sort of thing. We're like just about almost. And it's like with Tottenham, at least they are run stable off the pitch. And you're right about the FA Cup and League Cup thing, because there's no prize money in it. There's no incentive for any clubs to go win it. So they don't care. Like when we look at a lot of clubs that are like, oh, they must win a cup or whatever, or the manager must be sacked, they didn't win a cup. They never sack the manager because of that, because there's no money in it. They're looking at it from a business standpoint. That doesn't add anything for us. So yeah, I agree, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, it is true. I mean, what is going to get you further? Right, if you take over this club, right, I need to get some money in here. I want to get some big players in here. I want to get up and running in the next 4 or 5 years. What are you going to tell your man to do? Right, I want them FA Cups and League Cups, or get me in that top 4 or 5 years on the trot. And the League Cup and FA Cup, if it happens, fair play. If it doesn't, I couldn't really give a monkeys. Sadly, that is the way it is.
But if top clubs should be going for both, right? Trying to win the FA Cup and getting in the Champions League. And that's been the issue, isn't it? We haven't had a squad being able to do it.
You got to get to the top first, though, to be able to do that. What happened last year was a freak of nature, basically. Yeah, I mean, when does that ever happen? And not just us winning something, other clubs that won stuff as well. You don't usually get to be able to do that until you get to the top and have the capability of being able to do that, basically, in able to go for top 4, play in the Champions League, go for the league, and have the squad size to go for a cup at the same time as well. I mean, when it comes down to the crunch, to build yourself up to that top, again, the 2 cups are pretty much irrelevant. The Europa Cup, there is only one reason and one reason only that Europa Cup is relevant in any means or manner. It is a 2-tier second little Europa Cup. Let's be honest. The only thing that was big about it was it got us in the Champions League. If that cup would have just been the Europa Cup with no Champions League at the end of it, what Spurs fan would have honestly really gone head over heels about winning it?
I would have done. I was happy to win a trophy, man. I don't get what do you mean, man.
Would you have been as excited, basically, is what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we
Champions
don't win
League
trophies.
means shit to me. Champions League means absolutely nothing to me. So what? We're in the top 4. What's that going to? We're in the Champions League. What's that going to do for me?
But what's going to get you further in football? Finishing in the top 4 consistently, or winning the FA Cup 3 years on the trot and finishing 5th?
Well, I agree with you on that point.
So you've got to be realistic on it. I want to win things. But the point I'm making is if we would have... Okay, let me change this round. If instead of winning the Europa Cup last year, we would have won the League Cup, I bet you there wouldn't have been half as many people excited. I'll put money on it. Why? Because there'd have been no Champions League at the end of it. The thing that got most people excited, yes, we won a cup, loved it. Everyone else like happy with it and that. But it was the fact that it was that scapegoat. It got us that Champions League. It got us that way out. You're telling me that had nothing to do, absolutely nothing to do with you being excited about it. Not one bit of it. Not. It was all the Europa Cup.
Certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely.
For me, it was the joy of winning a trophy finally.
It's 17 years since we won one.
Yeah. we're not good enough for the Champions League last season
No,
to
we're not.
qualify. We're not. Team's not good enough. You know, we're in it by the back door. Yeah. It was just winning a trophy and then hoping that the club move forward from there. You know, invest in the squad, sack the manager, bring in a good, better manager, and go. You know, and you just hope that it'll be a better season this season. Look, it's an interesting question. So let's just kind of rein it back in. Sorry, Dan, go on. You've got another point?
Yeah, I was just going to say, but at the end of that, winning that Europa, you knew this year we had a chance. Why? Because that Europa got us Champions League.
Yeah.
Would you have been so excited about the next season or looking forward to it or looking forward to what we could possibly do if it would have just been the League Cup that we won?
Oh, and look, it's a nice bonus in the Champions League, you know.
Because if it would have just been the League Cup, everyone would have been sitting there with the attitude of, great, we've won the League Cup, but who are we going to buy? Where's our money going to come from? Where's this going to come from? Where's that going to come from? For a lot of people, I personally believe it was the fact, yes, winning the Europa Cup was good, but the fact that it had that Champions League at the end of it, everybody knew that gave us a chance for next season as well.
Yeah,
and
because you can buy better players, right? You should be able to attract better players, yeah.
Exactly. And if that Europa Cup wouldn't have the Champions League on the end of it, why do you think up until they put the Champions League as part of the trophy of winning the Europa Cup was a totally irrelevant to anybody who wasn't trying for a Champions League place, to a team that couldn't get into the Champions League? Most of them wouldn't even butter an eyelid to it. It was only the teams that would never get top four in their league or whatever and knew they couldn't get Champions League that had put effort into it. Others that knew they could get top four and get in the Champions League, most of them used to just blow the Europa Cup aside and just fight for the top four place. Yeah, that is what rescued the Europa Cup, the Champions League at the end of it, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. It's good points, man. Good points. Look, I just rein it back in to the question, because I had a question on it, which I want to kind of all of us get to a kind of, you know, an answer. It might not be clear cut, but moving on to, because I want to hear from Nige and Sheriff. So look, after 25 years in charge, how should Spurs fans truly remember Daniel Levy? As a man who built the modern club, or the man who held us back from glory?
I will never ever forgive the man for what he done to my football club that I've supported for 55 years. Never ever forgive him. Enoch and Levy were summed up the first week they were in charge. We're here to make money. We're here to make money. Not win things. Not anything else. We're here to make money. That's the first thing they said. The first thing they said. And that tells you everything about them. Mm-hmm. Daniel Levy, bricks and mortar, yes, brilliant. Training ground, stadium, brilliant. He's took us up levels just with that stadium. But you notice even that stadium was built with multi-functionality, if that's a word. You know, it was there not just for the football, it was there for the concerts, it was there for the NFL, it was there for the boxing and the rugby and whatever else goes on there, the 30 events per year. And that was all to line their pockets, not to improve us on the football field. Let's face it, we're all, well, 5 of us are Tottenham fans, even Mike, the West Ham fan. All what you do outside the pitch means nothing to us. Nothing. We're only interested what goes on the pitch and how much you win. And Levy held us back from that, especially when Pochettino was here. And we were that close to winning 2 leagues, not 1, 2 leagues. The Leicester year and the Chelsea year the following year. We could have won both of them if it weren't for him. In his scrimping and scraving for the new stadium. You can't have him. You can't have him. Look at the signings we brought in. But he gets some Fernandes instead of Bruno. You know what I mean? We could have had Jack Grealish. Mm-hmm. We could have had Jack Grealish for, I think, Levy lowballed him with like, we could have had him for something like £2.5 million. Levy went in with like 800 grand or something.
No, he went in for 5 million. I think.
No, not the
Grealish.
beginning. It
We're
wasn't.
talking about Grealish. It's 5 million.
Grealish.
I know we should have paid what 10, 20 million. We went in for 5 million for him when they dropped down to the Championship.
Yeah,
I think, guys, am I wrong?
It was less than that because the new American owners come in and took over Villa, and the next thing they said, right, it's trebled now. We want 20 million, and we weren't paying that, not a month for Sundays. And then eventually he became what he became and went on for 100 million. You look at you could build a hell of a team out of the players that we could have had. And Levy guffed it up. Sane. But Willian was at the training ground until he ordered an Uber straight down the King's Road. You know what I mean? All the players we've been linked with. I think it's Sane, Mane. I think there's 2 of them now.
Oh, we've missed out on so many, Sheriff. So many. You're
Yeah,
right.
so
We could have built so many better
And it
teams.
was anything to do with bricks and mortar. He was brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's why he's top property developer. But when it comes to football, which is what we all care about, he did nothing. He did no good riddance to him. Is all I got to say on the matter. Good riddance to him. And I agree with Dan that in the next year you will see whether Enoch is serious. Because I agree with Dan as well, what Dan said about they took the business as far as they can. The only final thing they got to do is build the hotels. And I bet they'll be knocked up in a couple of years. Ain't going to take them long to build them. And so the business has gone as far as it is, as far as it can go virtually. Hotels, barring that. So now they've got to concentrate on the football, which is why suddenly this summer we get 4 players that walk straight into our first team. But as for Daniel Levy, I'll never forgive that man, ever. I grew up when we were quite successful. 1991, when we won the FA Cup, we were the record holders. And you're telling me we can't win another one in 34 years? It's ridiculous.
Whose fault was that, Mark? Was that Daniel Levy's, or was that an idiot of a manager deciding to play a player that was injured who shouldn't have even been on the pitch in the Champions League final? Or was that
yes?
Or was that a manager making an idiotic decision of playing Son as a wing back? Or was that other managers making decisions as well? So you can't put the full blame on Levy here, saying I don't forgive Levy for this.
Well,
it's an easy scapegoat. I
on.
Understand, Mark. And then with the other stuff as well with it as well, the only reason we've actually got the right or privilege to even say we should be in that Champions League is because of the size that Levy has made us. The only reason we've got the foundations to be one of the most attractable clubs on the planet for whoever comes into us has absolutely got no work to do on the business side. It just has to put it on the other side to the football is because of Daniel Levy. The facts that we didn't win cup. How many cup finals did we get into? 7?
Yep, 7.
Yeah.
With him. Yep. And
7.
we won one of them. And I'd
Twice.
say about 3. I'd say
Two out
about
of
3.
7.
Yeah, I'd say about 3 or 4 of them you can put down to the map. Oh, hang on a sec. No, I forgot the team wasn't good enough. Well, it was good enough to beat Dortmund. It was good enough to beat Ajax. It was good enough to beat Man City. Oh, no, but the team wasn't good enough for the final, was it? No, that was the manager's fault we lost that Champions League. Plus, we didn't have a bit of luck. But again, Levy, easy scapegoat, basically. This is where I try and look on both sides. No. So if they were good enough, Mark, to beat everybody else, but all of a sudden the team weren't good enough for the final and that was Levy's fault, yeah? That's just using an easy scapegoat there. That was the manager's fault.
The thing is, in them times, we had a brilliant starting 11, but we never had the backups. The squad wasn't deep enough, and there's only one man to blame for that.
Was that Poch for turning down 3 players that he got offered?
Yeah, but they weren't good enough. He wanted better, didn't he? He wanted better.
We had Mane and Sane.
We had
Mane and Sane ready to sign.
I'm
And
not
Levy won't
disputing
pay
none
the
of that.
money. And Dybala.
Who else was it we got? No, Dybala was a bit of a different one, that one.
Well, that was the image rights and that.
We couldn't buy the whole player. That was the problem. We couldn't actually
it was the image rights.
Yeah, and they weren't willing to sell up the image rights. saying to people, look at, you can slate Levy all you want at the end of the day, but Levy is the reason that the club managed to get to Champions League finals. Levy is the reason that it had the size to get players in to get to... No, so okay, so if you want to blame Levy for everything, you've then also got to give him for the credit for the good stuff as well. Because if he's the one at the top that gets the blame, then he needs plenty of credit as well. The only so if business and all that has nothing to do with it and you don't care about it, I bet you, along with a lot of others, would be one of the first ones to jump off their high horse and start slating him if we ended up doing a Leeds and just putting everything into it. Everything goes tits up, and all of a sudden we're stuck, or doing Aston Villa and stuck in the Championship for God knows how many years. I bet you'd have something to say about that as well.
You look at our wiggle room though with PSR, whatever it's called these days.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a little bit of wiggle room, probably the most in the league. And this is where he's not spent the money. You know, so we're never going to be in danger of doing the Leeds, ever.
Who gives the money? Who gave him the money? Where does he get the money from? Does it come out of his back pocket, or is it the owners that give the club money?
Of course it don't. We wouldn't even, if it come out of his pocket, we wouldn't even got Gedson Fernandes.
So have you ever
got some else from Fernandes?
So have you ever thought that with Levy, possibly he was only doing the best he could with the money he was given? Because at the end of the day, if Joe Lewis would have said, right, I want this club to do something, there's 300 million, there'd have been 300 million on the table for him to do something with.
The business has always been the foremost of all their attentions.
I'm not disagreeing.
All they were interested in is making money.
Who's the one who could have put 300 million? Who's the one who could have said, right, there's 200 million to spend? Is that Levy or is that Lewis?
Well, ultimately, it's Lewis. Or
it's got nothing to do with Levy. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's got nothing whatsoever to do with Levy.
Well,
he hasn't. No, exactly. He's just the face. He doesn't put the money in there. He doesn't say there's 300 million out my back pocket and put it on the table like all the other owners do. When you go to the top, it's Joe Lewis and his kids and whatever, and the ENIC company that say, right, there's 200 million Tottenham, go and spend it. There's 200 million, Mr. Levy, do what you can. Or is that all down to Levy's fault as well?
All right.
Guys, I want to bring in Nige because he sat there very patiently.
Sorry. Just questions.
Guys, if everyone watching, please, there's 60 people watching, please smash the like, please subscribe if you haven't. I'm going to get the links for everyone's channels up in a second. I want to hear from Nige's, where does the blame lie? How will Levy be remembered? Nige, go on, have a bit of time and tell us.
Oh wow, this is Dan's taken all my glory. I'm saving up those semi-finals and those finals. I'm going to use them. But you know what, Levy on the business side, fantastic, has been brilliant. He really has. I know that my children, my children's children, my children's children's children will have a Tottenham Hotspur to support. I have no doubt about that now. So off the pitch, fantastic. Can't fault him. Yes, he has let us down on the pitch, definitely. Over the years, transfer windows when we should have pushed the boat out that little bit more, 100%, he has let us down. But like Dan said, I do not blame him for 16 semi-finals, however many it is, 7 finals. You know, that for me is down to the manager, playing Sonny at left wing back, playing Michael Vorm in goal. You know, playing an injured Kane in a final, I guess most of us probably would. But, you know, managers made mistakes too. The only one I will put on Levy is sacking Mourinho a week before cup final. But, yes, Levy off the pitch, fantastic. He has let us down on the pitch, no doubt about it. I don't put all the blame on him, though. And it's going to be interesting to see now what ENIC do, because a lot of people were Levy out and ENIC out. I've always been the same. I want change. I wanted Spurs to act differently in the transfer market. They've started doing that now. Levy's gone. I'm happy. But let's see what ENIC do. They're making a lot of promises now that they're going to stick their hand in their pocket and start spending the money. But, you know, let's see them do it. It's a lot like having a girlfriend that says she loves you. And then every weekend she's making excuses not to see you. I want to see actions and not words for me now.
Okay. So my turn, hey? I'm waiting for you to all jump in on me, but I will push it back before, because I don't know, Dan, if you're playing devil advocate, or I know it's all about, you know, giving an objective view. Yes, there's some good stuff Levy done, of course, it's there to see. But we didn't get over the line. We didn't have a strong enough squad. That ENIC Levy did not invest enough, back the managers enough in those seasons to get us over the line. When we get to a final, having a player to come off the bench who can make a difference, we never had it. We never had a big enough squad, and it's all to do with the board's backing, Levy, ENIC, whatever. And we failed time and time again. We didn't learn from our mistakes. And for me, I put majority of the blame on Levy and ENIC. I'm not saying they ain't done nothing good. They have done some good stuff over the years, of course. They built a wonderful stadium, training ground. We've bought some good players over the years. But at the end of the day, football's about winning, and we've just not done enough in 25 years. We haven't when it comes to the football. And I'm very frustrated. Many fans have been very frustrated season after season. We've been an embarrassment, for being honest, laughing stock, Spursy, we were called, mentality problem. And it all leads from the top. Yeah, so I put the blame on the top, majority. Yes, okay, managers get to a finals. They have responsibility to get us over the line. I get that. But I'm looking, the overall thing is down to the board, in my opinion. And Dan, what do you think? What is your overall opinion on, and Nige as well, whoever, why we failed?
I'll just say one thing. When we had the best squad in the league for them couple of years under Poch, we went 518 days without signing anybody.
Very true.
That tells you all you need to know about it. And do you know why that was? Because they wanted the money to build the stadium, to line their pockets even more.
But I'll give you the reason why we didn't win that league. It wasn't down to injuries. It wasn't down to size of the club. It was down to the fact that Poch screwed it up and we bottled the game against Chelsea. That was not down to Levy. There was only one injury, if I remember right, in that first 11. We had our full team out against Chelsea. We were 2-0 up. We had the league in the palm of our hands and we bottled it. The manager bottled it. Same as
chasing down.
Didn't we have Champions League that season? At least Leicester had nothing, didn't they?
Yeah,
Leicester had nothing.
We had the league. After with Chelsea.
When
Chelsea finished 10th
that
that year that Leicester won it.
But look,
we had Champions League as well, and the squad wasn't strong enough to do both.
But we wasn't covered in injuries or anything like that. We basically had a full team out against Chelsea. We was 2-0 up and we bottled it. Say it as it is. Levy does not sit there and tell the manager, right, I want to play inverted wing backs, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. When it came to that year with Leicester, we had that in the palm of our bloody hands. Yes, more players should have been bigger squad, but we bottled it against Chelsea through and through.
We were never top that year, Dan. This is the difference. We were never top that year. If we kept running
the way we did, we could have got that easy enough. There was games we lost where we should never have lost it. And towards the end, if we'd have got that one with Chelsea, I think we'd have had that league, yeah? But whenever it came to the crunch, we've always had managers or players that bottle it, that don't show up in finals. Like a Harry Kane, excellent player, but whenever it ever came to a final, pretty irrelevant, really, wasn't he? Always, never ever showed up on a final.
How can you say we had that? How can you say we had it in the palm of our hand? When we drew that game with Leicester, they must have been 4 points ahead of us then.
They beat us at our ground, Leicester.
Yeah. No. I'm just talking about the Chelsea game. When we drew that game with Chelsea, Leicester won the league. So they must have been 4 points ahead of us with one game left. So we never had it in the palm of our hand at all. We were always chasing that season. Always chasing.
I'm not denying that one. But if we'd have had that game against Chelsea and a couple of other stupid games towards the end that we should have actually won.
No, there was only one game left after that.
We bottled it from that Chelsea game more than anything.
Well,
that was where it all fell to pieces. That wasn't one game left.
Yeah, there was.
Chelsea wasn't one game left, was it?
Yes.
No. What, you're telling me Chelsea was the 37th game of the season?
Well, unless Leicester was like 7 points ahead of us or something with that draw. And there was 2 games left. Because we handed Leicester Leicester won the league with us drawing at Chelsea. And so it was either the 36th or 37th game. And we were always chasing Leicester that season because we had Champions League and they had diddly squat. They had one game a week. So they went out the cups early that year as well.
The point I'm trying to get to is with Mark here is there's been many situations where I just think you and others sit here and say, no, it's Levy's fault. It's easy to blame Levy. Yeah, Levy is at fault for a lot of the football side. You can. But then when it comes to what happens on that pitch, Levy ain't the one who's in control of what happens on the pitch. Like I said, that game against Chelsea, we bottled it. The manager got it wrong. They screwed it up.
They lost their heads in that game.
We went from a 2-horse race and we finished bloody third. Only Spurs could do that. Other times we've been in finals, and Levy is not the one who told Poch to play Son as a left wing back, or like Nige said, play Varane in goal, or play a Harry Kane that wasn't fit. But it's easy to sit there and look up at the sky and just blame Levy for it, yeah? When the fact comes down to it, a lot of what happened on the pitch wasn't Levy's fault. If you want to twist it the other way round, you can actually say the fact that we could even get into those positions, or the fact that we even had the right to fight for a Champions League final, or the right that we even had to do things like that, or should expect to do things like that, was because of Levy. Because if it was his fault that everything went wrong, then you've also got to say that everything that goes right is down to him as well. You can't just have it one way or the other.
I'll give you another example then, Dan. When we was due for the final of the League Cup with Mourinho, why is it then when we were playing Southampton midweek, Jose Mourinho said, I'm going to rest a load of players. Daniel Levy said, oh, no, you're damn not. Top four still on.
That was Levy's fault. That one was Levy's fault.
There you go.
Yeah, it doesn't mean everything. No, there's no year go about it. It doesn't mean everything was Levy's fault. That one was his fault, yes. But the other ones I've mentioned was not his fault.
Dan, at the end of the day, ultimately, it's Levy's fault because he never invested in the squad enough.
Yeah.
Because if he had done, he'd have had the players on the pitch that would have won the league, that would have won the Champions League.
Yeah.
But do you think he had the money to invest, though, is what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying with you. Do you think he had control of the money, or did he only have control of the money he was given?
Whether he had control of the money or not, or whether it was Lewis's money, if he was the one acting on Tottenham's behalf to get the transfers done, then it's him that's dealing with the money, whether he had it or not.
Yeah. So if he's only going, if he's only
Is it-
going to
is it
be given
different
if he's only given 100 million to spend, what else do you expect to do when it's the one at the very top who could have said, "There's 300 million. Now go do something." This is what.
So if you had 100 million, then if you had 100 million, why did we go 518 days? There's still a record in the league.
I didn't say you had 100 million then.
3 transfer windows, and we signed nobody because they were building.
Guys, it was the strategy with the transfers, buying 5 or 6 players instead of going for 2 or 3 top players. That's where they went wrong, season after season after season. And that's on recruitment. And who's in charge of recruitment? Levy.
He's the one who hires them. Yep. I don't deny none of that. As all I try and get people to do is look on both sides. I think some people just blame him to never. Well, that's just not looking at reality then, Mark. You got to be realistic here, yeah? There is so much that the fella done for the club, and there is a lot that he screwed up for us as well. And I'd just love to see the smile on a few Spurs fans' faces when we go and pump all the money into it and all of a sudden we end up like Leeds for the next 15 years. Oh, who do you blame for that one then? Oh, I don't care about business. Oh, no, let's slam it down on Levy on that side, yeah? Come on, be realistic here, yeah? The only reason we had the right for a Champions League final is because of what Levy helped build at the club.
So, guys, let's wrap up this question before we move to the next one.
We are never, ever going to end up like Leeds. Let's get that in there. There's too much money coming into the club to do that.
Now there's too much money coming into the club because of what Levy has done for the club.
Yeah, line his own pockets.
Well, obviously, it's not just his own pockets. If the club is lined that much, that it can't happen to Spurs. So it can't just be Levy's pocket then, can it?
Right, guys, we could go on all night with this point, right? Yeah. I've let all of you answer this question. Yeah. How should he be truly remembered in your eyes, your opinion, whatever it is? Cookie, I haven't heard from you for a bit. What are you saying, man?
I'm still reading the question. Let someone else go first. I'm mentally fatigued at 57. Takes me a bit longer to read the question. I'll let someone else go first, and then I will answer.
Do you want me to read it out?
I'm reading it.
I'm just going to say my part quickly. I think, like I say, great off the pitch, not quite enough on the pitch. I think he's let the club down in so many ways, but also built a great infrastructure for the future for Tottenham Hotspur. Glad that he's gone. Let's see what happens now. I'll leave it at that.
Nige, and anybody can answer this as well. When do you think his time was up at Spurs? When, if you could have made a decision to move Levy on, when would you have done that?
For me, probably
before you answer that, Nige, up until Pochettino, we were slowly progressing, right? under Levy. Yeah, we got to Pochettino, and since 2019, we've kind of been a bit of a mess, haven't we? Yeah, changing managers, bad recruitment. You know, we kind of peaked at Poch. We didn't kick on. Sorry, go on.
I honestly think Poch was an accident, and the fact that I think we overachieved with him. I think we're a moving stadium. That was always going to be the case, and I don't think Tottenham expected the team to do as well as they did, you know, and qualify for Champions League and get to finals. I think maybe that's why I think we didn't spend money. I think we were always not going to spend a lot of money while we were building a stadium, but I think because we were so close on the cusp, I think the fans obviously demanded a lot more, which they should. Absolutely right. For me, as soon as Poch went, probably that's when Levy, we should have really started to get rid of him, because since then he's gone from manager to manager, different styles, and it's not worked. He's gone from winners. He's then gone for project managers. And for me, that's when we should have really read the room and maybe started making changes.
So, how will he be remembered in your eyes? For the, you know, going back to that question, will he be remembered as a man who built a modern club, or held us back from glory?
I think both. I think if you're looking at it, there's no doubt he's put us in a great position for the future, but he has held us back. Certainly over the last 5 or 6 years,
as a fan, Nige, are you? Yeah. You know, yeah. What is it?
I certainly won't be. I certainly wouldn't be expecting a statue to be built of him. Like I say, he has taken us to that next level now. We are there. We are ready to win things. All we need now is someone to come in with investment, or Enoch to put their money in the pockets. And there's no reason why we can't. We could go out and spend 500 million. Don't mean we're going to win trophies, because other clubs do it as well. Liverpool have done it this summer pretty much. But I just want to be in that position, in that conversation. And I think now we have a great chance to be there. And as much as I wanted Levy out, part of that is down to him.
Okay, fair enough, Nige. Where do you want to go? Who wants to go next, Sheriff?
I hope they do build a statue of him. It's something for the pigeons to do their business on. To me, he will always be remembered for holding the club back when we were on the premise of glory. We were on that close, and he wouldn't stick his hand in his pocket. He wouldn't do it. He virtually robbed me of 25 years supporting my club. That when I was growing up, we were very successful.
Well, winning cups regularly. That's what you meant.
Yeah, winning cups regularly.
Winning cups more regularly than what we did in the past 25 years.
What cups were we winning regularly? Just out of question.
The FA Cup 3 times when it was big.
When did we win it? What were the years?
81.
I'm not very good at years. Yeah.
81, 82, 91.
Mm-hmm.
And the UEFA Cup in 1984.
Mm-hmm. Not too sad.
Final
before then?
Well, bloody hell, I'm not that old.
I'm sure you're older than 80s, ain't you?
Well, yeah, but like we were in the final. We won the UEFA Cup in what? 73, 74?
84.
I was only
84.
like 3, 4.
Yeah. What I'm basically saying is we've never been a big club. We never have been. Oh,
we were a cup team. We always have been a cup
all
team.
we ever were. But it wasn't as though we went like and usually won 3 cups, 4 cups every 10 years. It was more like 1 cup, 2 cups every 10 years. Yeah.
Well, there was
really
between 81 and 91.
But if you want to go through the whole system of the cups, bring them all up, we never really was a massive club. And I think this is where some fans need to get the picture of the. I think a few Spurs fans seem to think we're bigger than what we actually are. Like we've almost got this written right that we should be at the top. When it comes down to Levy, the last I say on him is I think he definitely held us back on the football side at points. Yes, with the stadium. I can't 100% blame him for that because look what it did to Arsenal. It totally destroyed them as a club for how many years where they had to keep selling their players to pay it off. Yet we've never had to sell players to pay the stadium off. Thank you to Daniel Levy. And you're also going to have to look on it for the fact that we have got one of the most stable clubs on the planet. We've got the income and everything else, and we've been able to get in Champions League round about, what is it? How in Europe, about 14 over the past 20 years, something along them lines, not just Champions League, but Europe as a whole. You're also going to have to thank him for that as well. And there's two sides to it. So I'm going to remember him. Yes, you screwed up big times on some transfers. You could have done more for us there. I think you could have got that deal done if you weren't such a smug little prick, basically. But I'm also going to remember him in 10 years' time, depending on who buys us and whatever else. The reason we are where we are now, if we get a good owner, is because the chairman before us, Levy, gave us the best foundations that any football club could ever ask for.
So
But people
Dan,
just
are
seem to
you
like
for
ignore
it?
that.
Are you for Levy or not Levy? I'm a bit confused, Dan. Are you which way are you, mate?
No, I wanted Levy out for the sports side,
When?
basically. But I'll
When?
always.
When did you want him out, mate? When did you had enough?
I think the one with Martin Yole rattled me. I think the one that definitely done it for me was Poch, basically, on how we were so near yet so far. But then if you want to look on the technicality side, did we even have a right to be there as such? Like Spurs fans say we've almost got this unwritten right to be there. When have we ever been an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a Man U? We never, ever have been. So I wanted him gone after Poch, basically, because I wanted us to improve on the football side. But the one thing I will not take away from that man on being probably the best business football chairman there's possibly ever been in football, because no other chairman has managed to do that with a club that was as... You can't say Spurs wasn't pretty much half broken when he took it over.
We were going for a bad period when he took over, yeah.
Yeah, very, very bad period.
Yeah.
And
But before
so
then, we were like, before Levy's reign, we were like, I think, top 5 of winning the most trophies in football history. So
that's right.
We talk about big clubs. Does that mean we're a big club? Top 5 in all of English football? I think.
No, I don't count it like that, Dan. The way I count it is, I mean, we all do it different.
Winning trophies, isn't it? Winning trophies.
If you go by winning trophies, yes, we are. But now let's put a point system on the trophies. Let's say that every league you win is five points, every FA Cup you win is 3 points, and every League Cup you win is 1 point. We're not even in the top 10. As all we've won
since Levy's been
since football existed.
Well, you're talking about league titles.
Yeah, if you was to put a point system on all the cups, let's just say 5 for the league, 3 for the FA Cup, 1 for the League Cup, we wouldn't even be in the bloody top 10. People speak of Spurs like we have this gospel right to be up the top, when Everton have won the league 9 times. Aston Villa have won it how many times? Sheffield Wednesday have won it more than us. If you want to go by in the whole thing and that, as all we ever have been is this medium cup winning cup that got us up there. We've never been up there with the big boys winning the leagues and that. Levy has brought stability here, but I want to win things now. So I want to win things now. We needed Levy gone for that side, but I just think he has the right to be remembered for what he also built behind the club in the background as well. I'm just trying to be fair here. That's all.
Dan, that's your opinion, man. Fair enough.
Can I just add a point quickly? For me, as an older fan, as a fan in his 50s, I grew up watching Spurs win trophies, FA Cups, League Cups, UEFA Cups. I don't care about the league. I never have. I know Spurs are probably never going to win a league in my lifetime, and I'm okay with that. What I want to see is Spurs winning trophies again, because that's what I grew up on, and that's what I fell in love with. The trouble is now money is taken over, and it is all about where you finish in the league rather than what cup you win. For me, I just want to go back to winning cups. Doesn't mean I want to finish 17th. But if we were to finish top 8 or 9 every season and win a cup every couple of years, I'd be more than happy.
Right. I want to hear from Cookie. And then what I'm going to do, because Mike is sitting here patiently and he wants to talk about the West Ham game. And we may come back to other questions about Levy in the future, afterwards. I think we'll probably do that. So I want to hear from Cookie. Where for you, that question, mate, you had a good read of it. I'll bring it up again so you know. Will you remember De Levy for being, bringing the club to where it's been now, or he's held us back from glory?
I haven't got any doubt that like everyone said, pretty much, that he's brought the club forward as far as stature's concerned, ground, training ground, facilities, all that stuff Yeah, which is all great. And again, like everyone said, pretty much, we need to kick on there. I think Levy took us as far as he could under the way that he used to, I don't know, whatever his limitations were with money, like Dan says, or whatever the reasons were, he's took us far enough. I think there's been too many times when deals should have been done, yeah, and they weren't done. And a lot of the time people go on about smoke and mirrors and this and that and the other. You know, how many times over the years have we been so close to getting very good footballers into our club, and it just don't happen. You know, so personally for me, 2001 when he took over, yeah, because as soon as they said we're here for the money and no one mentioned football, yeah, that's my football club he's talking about. You know, everyone who invests in a football club, I would expect them to want to make money. And ENIC are an investment group, so they're going to be trying to make money. But at least say, but we're going to be doing a bit of this and a bit of that to help on the football pitch. No one ever mentioned the football. And that's what done me from day one. And that's why I've never been since. So ENIC is still to blame for that, right? As far as off the pitch, yeah, I agree with Dan. He's done what he's done to get us to the stature to where we are. But as far as on the pitch is concerned, for me, they haven't done enough. And I think the problem is now, a lot of fans are going to look at, well, hang on a minute, we've just brought in two really good players on loan. Yeah. And we're all right now. We're far from all right. Far from all right. Tottenham have got a long way to go, yeah, to rebuild this squad properly if they want to achieve greater things. And we'll see now. We'll see what ENIC are made of, you know. And again, like everyone says, I think we're all agreed on the same thing. You know, they may well be selling the club later on. They may well do. We'll find out later. We're only guessing, yeah. But for now, ENIC are in charge, and let's see if the transfer structure on the pitch changes to get in better players, because we've got a lot of rotating to do to get players out that are not so good, yeah, that we seem to hang on for years, or even if they're younger players that are not seemingly up to the job, we'll still keep hold of them, or we'll loan them out instead of selling them like Chelsea do. You know, Chelsea are out there selling players that have not even been in their team for 20 and 30 million quids. So if they can do it, why can't we do it? Because our selling policy is awful to make money. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it will change. I think we all hope it will change, but we'll see. We'll see moving forward what happens. We've got 4 good players in now, and let's see how we go going forward and moving into January and see what happens.
Fair enough. Great, everybody. Great points. You know, it was that one question got us talking for over an hour. You know, and there was a couple more, but we're not going to have time now to talk about it. But we will come. Maybe we'll come back to it later. But guys, I want to hear from Mike now. He's come on. You know, represent West Ham. We got a derby on Saturday, 5:30. So I'm going to hand this over to Mike now to tell us a bit about how he's feeling about West Ham, his expectations, how he think the summer transfer window went, and then we'll move on to talking about the game. So over to you, Mike.
Yeah, the transfer window, that was the biggest load of pain. It's like dragged on for way too long, because it was just like, because David Sullivan's back in charge of all footballing decisions, it's basically just gone back to how we was in 2016 towards 2018, even before then, up to Park era as well, where we're just buying on the cheap, buying on your market opportunities. There's no direction in what we want to buy, no intent to actually rebuild the aging squad, even with all the promises and briefings out there that we always do every single year about we're going to do this and we're going to do that. The club wants to do this, and it's like, okay, we've heard this all before for many years now. Just go and do it. And we knew how bad the squad was from last year, because as much as everyone hyped last year's transfer window, it only added to the issue, the overall transfer window, what we had last year, rather than actually editing any issue that we actually had. So we're almost gone back a couple of years already just from that. And cool, the manager's got a pre-season, that's cool, but like by the time pre-season started, we had one signing in, and that was Diouf. And he's a very good signing, but that was the first time the directors that are meant to be running the sporting era of the club actually got their decision to sign somebody. And then Walker Peters was on a free, which is cool. I like Walker Peters. I wanted him last year. I think he's good competition for Wan-Bissaka. Callum Wilson did not want Corley scored against Nottingham Forest, but it's a typical West Ham signing someone at the back end of their career as well.
So this is your signings. I've got it ready for you guys.
Yeah.
It's out there. So this is who you brought in and who's out, right?
Yeah. The Dimitri guy is youngster signing, so is Daniel Cummings. Like Madsen Manson, we took so long to even sign him. We took like 3 or 4. We were linked with him for at least a month and a half before we actually signed him, and we had a free run at him because nobody else went in for him. Magas and Fernandez were only signed because of how much we struggled in the first few games, even though it was quite clearly stated that we needed centre midfielders beforehand. And we'll see how Magas settles in because he hasn't had any pre-season with Monaco, and Fernandez has come straight in because he had one with Southampton. Like all the outgoings needed to happen, but all the sales were awful in terms of like, cool, I didn't really care about Kudus leaving. It was the price of 55 million, and the excuse was because João Pedro and Madueke went for a certain price that it was acceptable to sell Kudus for 55 million. Everyone else went on a free, basically. Zuma, Ings, Sufal, Fabianski, Cresswell, etc. Again, and Emerson were last minute. The fact that we only sold Emerson for that much is disgraceful, even though he's 30 years old on 1 year left. It's still a disgraceful sell. He's done so much for the club. So I reckon he would have had a bit more stock if we actually knew how to sell players. And to be honest, it's quite pathetic, to be honest with you, because this is what happens when you have David Sullivan running all the footballing decisions rather than a sporting director, because David Sullivan has the audacity to think that he's better than the sporting director, even though the director of football that we had, like in Tim Steidten last year and Rob Newman, the chief scout, went under David Moyes, they had way better recruitment eyes than David Sullivan ever did. So the transfer window didn't give me any hope as it is because I knew how the club was going to operate within that aspect. And that's why I basically said from May that we could very much get relegated. I still think we could, despite the Forest game. I still like the Todibo signing, despite what people think. That was just a permanent from last year. I don't even count it as this summer signing. I just think the structure that Potter's built around our defence hasn't been great. When we went to a back four, we actually looked somewhat good against Forest, but that's still us just capitalising on how bad they were at the time. And to be honest, with my expectation for the season, I just wanted to survive this season. I want more because we moved to the London Stadium. There's not
survive.
Really any point.
Is that all you're saying, Mike? You just want to survive and stay in the league this season? Things are that bad for you? What you think at West Ham right now?
Yeah, honestly, genuinely, there's nothing around the club to be excited for.
Bloody hell.
Like there's no like cohesion. There's no happiness within the fan base. Well, there never is happiness within the fan base, but it's generally gone to a point where everyone's just loud about it this season. So there's no one that's like, oh, I'm excited to do this for West Ham this season, whatever. Like we should be trying to target Europe in stadium every single year because otherwise there's no point of moving to the stadium. Obviously, we don't even own the stadium, so there was no point moving out of our home in the first place. To be completely honest with you, but. Honestly, like there's been nothing to look forward to when it comes to West Ham, and for a while, to be honest, even like since the trophy win, what we fail to do every single time when we actually have something going on at this club is to capitalize on what we're meant to be good at or what we have going on. Like after the Rice signing, you should be able to flip that money into good recruitment and keep the same level of the team up, but instead we spent it on Mohamed Kudus, but also Mavropanos, Ward-Prowse, and Alvarez. Terrible recruitment. Again, there's no direction in that recruitment. All of those signings were done in August. So there's no preparation. There was no new signing within the summer of like July and June or whatever. No time to bed these people into the so-called style of play that we have. Every single manager that we hire anyway, whether it's counter-attacking style, possession-based style, we don't do it correctly anyway. A lot of our fans care about style of football, just an aesthetic point of view as a bare minimum. I just want whatever style of football you have to make it work. To be completely honest with you, I don't really care what style of football it is. I just get really annoyed where the managers are so fixated on a certain style of play year in, year out, or week in, week out, and they have refused to at least make a couple changes about it, change the formation, change the maybe structure off the ball, whatever. There's been so many times where I'm just watching us become stubborn in our ways almost, and mainly that's what I'm looking at when it comes to West Ham. It's how stubborn we are on the pitch and how stubborn we are off the pitch, and all that just conglomerates into us just underachieving. And cool, well, we are just West Ham or whatever. So I get what people mean by like, well, you're West Ham, what do you expect and all that. No one expected anything before moving stadium. That's the point. That's the point. None of us would be complaining like this if it was just at Upton Park. We'd probably just accept what we've always been, call a team that stays up for the most part, that has an very odd disaster season every like decade or whatever. Because that's been our history for a very long time. For as long as even when we were good, when we won a couple of FA Cups back in the day, only won 3, but what we did back in the day or whatever, we were still getting relegated then. So, like, and we've always kept the theme of our club is the managers to get worse and worse every single year, and it's only a matter of time before this club becomes like horrendous. Where with the stadium we're in, if we get relegated with that stadium, like it could get so toxic. It gets so toxic. That's why I'm worried about the game on the weekend, because like Thomas Frank does a job on us at our stadium. I know there's been a record's been 1-1 for the most of the time at our stadium in this fixture, but it's only a matter of time before these records come to an end. Every like so-called positive record, I don't even see this as a positive record, but every single positive record we have always comes to an end as of recent years. The records we've had over singular clubs or whatever, I feel like it's only a matter of time before it becomes really toxic.
What do you think about Potter? Do you like him or?
I actually liked the appointment at the time, just because we don't pay compensation for any manager, and we don't pay any compensation to sack any manager, so we just get them on a free. He was probably the best free option at the time, him and Sarri. So I was quite happy with that at the time. I wanted to give him a pre-season. That's why I wasn't really like criticizing him last season. I was like, okay, this isn't his squad, cool, whatever. I'll give him a pre-season. Even if he doesn't get back to you, you've agreed to take the job. So you should know what kind of ownership you're working under, etc. The problem I had was no, a lot of the team selections in pre-season didn't match up to the actual season itself, because he was quite set on the type of players he was going to use. Like Freddie Potts was in the midfield starting. He's barely got a minute. All this promises about inclusion of the young players that are actually good enough, and not just using young players for the sake of it, like a Freddie Potts and Ollie Scholes, Callum Marshall, etc. They've not been used one bit. Callum Marshall hasn't got a single minute. Scholes hasn't got a single minute. Potts has got 45 minutes in total in the Premier League as well. And that's been a big problem, in my opinion, with Graham Potter, is the team selections. And I think that's what's made me turn on him, to be honest with you, because it's the use of like James Ward-Prowse constantly. It's the mistreatment of Todibo. It's the misuse of our defence, the constant need to use 5 defenders or 5 in the back formation and not be attacking with it and go to a 3 in possession and then send wingers as wing backs, which is what he used to do at Brighton. He's managed to go even more cautious. He sets out to play to draw, not to win. Like, just play to not lose sort of thing. As long as you're not losing, it's fine. You don't go all out to win. You don't even try to win. Because when we do actually attack, which is what really annoyed me about the previous managers, we get to see our potential because of the likes of Jared Bowen, because of the likes of Lucas Paquetá, etc. But every time we hold back, we just see the same thing year in, year out. And that's what's really annoyed me about Potter, is that you've got back on everything that you were at Brighton, almost. And cool, you don't have the technical players in the midfield. Now you've got some of the players that you actually do need. So you haven't really got an excuse at this point in time, because he knew what job he was taking working under this ownership. I refuse to believe that managers come into a club not realizing the employers that they're working for. So he hasn't really got an excuse anymore.
Guys, what do we think about West Ham looking from the outside? What do we make of them? Because I always thought they're quite a decent side, but I look at their squad this season, and admittedly, I don't know too much about some of the players, but I just think they lack so much. Guys, what do we think?
I just want to talk about a couple of their new signings before other people get involved. Right. Mike, you know the 2 young midfielders, the bloke from Southampton, Fernandez, and there was a bloke from France. What's his name?
Magassa.
Yeah, a lot of potential. You know, you look at the scouting reports at these 2 players. You know, they could be real top players in a few years' time. Now, are you putting your hopes on players like them to really kind of get whatever you want to call Potter's football, start playing? You know, they're young, they've got energy, they press, you know, they've got some fantastic stats, you know, before they come to West Ham. Are you putting your hopes on players like that to get this kind of Potter system? Because you're right, like I was just listening in when I was away, that, you know, he's still playing James Ward-Prowse, he's still playing Souček, yeah? And, you know, these players, you know, they need new energy, fresh legs into the side.
Yeah, my problem is that the lineups that we as fans know what the best lineup is, I don't think will ever get played. I don't think he's ever going to play Paquetá and Fernandes in the same midfield, and he would just shove them on one of them on the left, like he did against Forest, to accommodate an extra midfielder and to be like restricted within his play and stuff. The problem is Magassa has barely had any match sharpness, so I don't know whether he's going to come in anytime soon into the team, which worries me because he's only like proper good number 6 alongside Freddie Potts. He still had players there to play, like Freddie Potts, like an Irving, etc., and he never played them. So now with new signings, we have no choice but to hope that they can become good. Like I don't expect Mikasa to become good straight away if he does.
Do you like him, Mike? Do you like these two signings?
From what I've heard of Magassa, he like from people that watch Liga, I've heard good things. I haven't really watched him myself, but Fernandes I really like because I watched him at Southampton. He was one of their best players last season. Gives you energy, gives you pressing, also gives you creativity, gives you an intent to attack as well. I do like these signings, but at the same time, I just don't think we're going to get the lineup we want, where Paquetá and Fernandes are in the same midfield, Magassa's just in behind, so we can actually keep the ball a lot better. Somerville starting on the left. I don't think Potter's going to be as flexible as I hoped he would be. So regardless of the signings we've had, I don't really trust his team selections moving forward.
Fair enough. Anyone else got any questions about West Ham before we get into talking about the game?
I think they're going to struggle not to go down this year, if I'm going to be honest. Totally honest, I think they're in a fight. Because I don't think the 3 that have come up are as weak as the 3 that came up last season. The 3 that came up last season couldn't have been any poorer if you tried. They are the only reason we stayed in the Premier League, because those bottom 3 clubs were that bad. If one of them would have been half decent, like I think Sunderland are going to be, we would have gone down last year. But it's another thing that people like to turn a blind eye to because we got the Europa Cup. This year, I think West Ham are in for a fight and a half to stay up. That's not being Spurs to West Ham, whatever else. That's just looking at it from a football point of view. I think West Ham are in trouble this year. They've got a lot of trouble inside the place, outside the place. The fans are at war with the owners and everything else and that. Not so much with each other. They're not as bad as Spurs lot. But I think West Ham are really going to struggle to stay up this year.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. But I've been saying this for months, and it's like,
or a relegation battle at least, or a serious relegation battle as such.
Definitely. And people have been saying to me for months, but you have like Jared Bowen, and you have and the other teams that get promoted. Look at the history of the teams getting promoted or whatever. But I've always said, like, look at the form last year and look at our lack of intent to do business early this year. That doesn't exactly give us any hope that we're going to do any better. And we saw it instantly. First game of the season, you lose 3-0 to a promoted side. Regardless of how many players they've signed, it should take a long time for you to integrate that many signings into your starting 11. So you don't really have an excuse to not go out and beat them regardless. Could have got players like Granit Xhaka, and it's a good experience. But at the same time, it's been awful. It's been awful. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got relegated. And if we do get relegated with this stadium, I don't think you'll see us back in the Premier League anytime soon, if I'm being so honest.
I mean,
is it true? Is it true that West Ham only rent that ground?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not their stadium. That's what we
No.
were going to do. Instead of buying, instead of building our own stadium, we was actually trying to trying to buy or rent the place that West Ham are at. That is
it's the local council that own Olympic Stadium. Is that right?
Yeah,
That's right.
Council. Yeah.
That's why West Ham is a little council estate team, isn't it? That's why people call them that, because they rent their stadium off the council. That's why people say that.
It's true. It's
Well,
true. It's like a 99-year rent or something.
Something like that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I look at their signings, right, coming in, right, and I mean, Callum Wilson, right? Yeah, experienced Premier League player, can't stay fit, you know. I mean, it's not very inspiring, is it? Really, for a West Ham fan. I mean, I do like those couple of young players, but you need to be doing. I don't know who makes the decisions with the transfer. Sullivan, is it?
Sullivan, yeah.
Or
Sullivan
Brady?
makes the decision.
What
Sullivan
about
does.
not Brady? No.
No, Brady does all the nonsense briefings and talks to the media too much and basically represents the club like an idiot.
I just think that that just looking at that with Walker Peters, okay, steady player, can play left back, right back, but you lost quite a few players there, haven't you? Some experience as well. Kufal, Cresswell, Zuma. You lost out, but you just haven't really replaced them with kind of ready-made players. And I think, look, you said, Dan, you think there could be in a relegation battle. I mean, if Potter doesn't get his system working quickly, they could get dragged into one. And they need to start playing those young players instead of the likes of James Ward-Prowse. You've got to just throw them in there and see how they get on. You've got good players, West Ham. Paquetá, I like. Bowen, good player. Yeah, we'd have him at Spurs. Top player, I think. But I think some defenders are okay. Your defence. What do you think of your defence, Mike?
I think some defenders are okay. I think Tadibo is actually a good player when you played him with the right system. And I think he's been done dirty by the manager. I think he's been mistreated a bit. Diouf and Wan-Bissaka, I like Walker Peters' depth. Ollie Scar's a good depth. Kilman in a back three, in the middle of a back three is not good. Mavropanos, as much as he had a good game last game, I don't really like him. Not sure what to make of the Eagle guy that we just signed, to be honest with you. The only time I really watched him is when we won the Conference League final and a couple of games for Brighton, and that was it. But other than that, I think the defense is a bit wishy-washy, but I just think it's more so the manager structure. Now that we've got people like a Gerd out, there should be less mistakes within the team, but I really don't trust Mavropanos as a starter. I know he's going to start over Tadibo at this current moment in time now, which I'm not a fan of, to be completely honest with you.
So just bringing up the possible kind of formations that West Ham could be playing. We've seen both this season. I've got a question, Mike. Do you think these West Ham players respect Potter enough? Because it's for me, I don't know if they're listening to him.
I don't know whether it's that, to be honest with you. I think a lot of the crop that were there last season, like an Alvarez and Kudus, didn't respect him. But I think Kudus wanted to leave anyway. And Alvarez, I know, didn't respect him anyway. He's fallen out with most of the managers. I think Joy is that I think a lot of the players, they're very different styles to each other. So they can't work together. There's no chemistry between them because a lot of them fit in different systems. I just think Potter's not been good enough in actually getting his points across. And I think once we lose a game, he's not a great motivator in getting you to win the next game because he doesn't have the character.
Anybody else on the panel want to talk anything about West Ham before we get into the game? Any burning questions to Mike?
I think you can say that about Potter, isn't it? I don't think he's a bad manager. He's just not very adaptable. I think he's a bit more adaptable than Ange, but he's just not very adaptable in playing with the cards he's got. He only really plays his way or a little change, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like you say, charisma-wise, like character-wise, I mean, yeah, he's that sort of mate that you're standing there at the bar buying a pint, chatting to someone. He comes up and stands next to you for 10 minutes and you don't even know he's there, basically, innit? Yeah. he's not exactly high on the charisma side, is he? So how he gets the players up after the games, whatever, and stuff like that, I don't know. But he's not very adaptable manager, is he? He's got his way of playing, basically, with maybe a little bit on the side. I don't think he's a bad manager overall. I don't. But then that team as well, I must admit, that bar maybe two players on there, that you're struggling. Not you've got a relegation battle this year, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the problem is we've tried a lot of every year is the experienced guys. We've got to go off experience. It's always the experience that will get you out of it. A lot of these experienced players that we have aren't good enough, and they haven't showed any ability to actually show their know-how, their so-called know-how of the 20-year careers they've had or whatever. Like these more Prowses or whatever, the Sucheks or whatever. Like you turn up in moments, not games in, games out, which is why the reluctance to try the youth is very annoying as this experience way all the time. We've got a lot of experienced players. You can still have experienced players on the pitch. You can still have Paquetá, Bowen, Wan-Bissaka, Tadibo, Hermansen, whoever. but you can build them around with the players that we have now, like Potts, the Megases, the Fernandezes, etc. We need to go down a different route, which is why I didn't like the Callum Wilson signing. We already had 3 30-year-old strikers last year, now we got 2. It doesn't make a difference. Like, it doesn't make a difference. Like, we had a young striker on the bench with Callum Marshall. He's not going to get game time now. You could have bought a young striker if you really wanted to, but Potter refused to have a striker, and because of the relationship of Callum Wilson's agent that it has with David Sullivan, we signed Callum Wilson. The only reason why Callum Wilson signed for West Ham is because his agent is Will Salthouse, and David Sullivan loves that agent. That's who we sign players via him a lot. He signs players via agents. There's no direction, which is a big problem, which is why we are where we are, because of the lack of direction with recruitment.
When I hear from like Brady, I think she was on TalkSport not long ago, and she did not sound convinced when she was talking about Potter. Like, oh, you know, maybe it will work out, maybe not. She didn't sound like she had any confidence in Potter working out. So, you know, I don't know where this one's going to go. Probably not in a good way for you guys. Cookie, Nige, Sheriff, anything about West Ham before we jump into the game? Or should we just jump into the game?
No. Happy to jump into it, mate.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's go. So, so Spurs started the season well, a couple of good wins, and then we're brought back down to earth by being outplayed by Bournemouth. Right. Totally outplayed the game before the international break. Now, West Ham has started awfully, lost 2 Premier League games, knocked out the Carabao Cup, but then they went over to Forest and got 3 points, right? 3 late goals. So look, Mike, just about that. Was that kind of a flash in the pan? Did you deserve to win that game? What happened in that match against Forest?
I think we deserved to win the game because they did nothing. Like, they don't know what to do with the football. Like, because of the way they're coached by Nuno, it's like we allowed them to have the ball, like we do every single team. We only press at times, and they were just like, well, we got no clue what to do because we probably don't get coached on the ball under Nuno and stuff like that. So I think a lot of it was. Cool, we kept the clean sheet. I think we worked better with a back 4 in possession, but a lot of it was flash in the pan. Just because, as much as we did outplay them, we did have more chances because we scored back-to-back goals. It was a case of we just capitalized on what they were bad at, and also when they go 1-0 down, because they set up to like draw, they set up to just concede like 0-1 goals or whatever. As soon as they concede 1. You'll be able to capitalize on them type of teams that just focus on defense all the time. So once we scored 1, we was like, okay, they got to open the floodgates. We've got to put even more pressure on them actually having the ball and stuff like that as well. So we scored 3 and we just ran at them. As soon as Somerville came on, changed their game. We actually had an extra attacker on the pitch, which is almost like what we were saying, what West Ham fans have been saying to Potter, just put an extra attacker on the pitch, we might actually be a bit better. So just relying on 2 people up front, them isolated all the time. But that's what it's been like. Now that we've got Somerville back, I don't think it'll start against Tottenham because it's only just come back. But it would be nice to have an extra attacker on the pitch and see if he can shift that around. Maybe it'll be. I'm hoping he doesn't revert back to back 5. If he does, then I know what type of game it's going to be. If it's Fernandez, Paquetá, Bowen, and whoever's up front, I don't really mind. I guess it's Callum Wilson now because Fulkirk's injured. Then I don't mind. I don't mind that front 4 because we ain't got much of a choice at that point. But I think it is a flash in the pan. I think we're still going to struggle. I'm still not looking forward to this game despite winning. And we don't. And I know everyone does like a bit rusty after an international break. We for somehow make an excuse to not do well after an international break every single time in the first game. Seems to be quite of a trend at West Ham. Every single time we face someone after the international break, we seem to like
we're the other way around.
Yeah. Well, I know what type of game it's going to be on Saturday then.
Guys, before we jump into it, please, everybody watching, smash the like button, subscribe to Nige, Pure COYS, to 2 Marks, Danny and Mike. It's much appreciated. I'm going to bring up their links now. Yeah, if you could smash the like, much appreciated. Subscribe to me if you haven't as well. So guys, like this game, right? It's a derby. I mean, after hearing from Mike and people on the panel, West Ham are not particularly scary, are they, at the moment? Yes, they've got some good players. So look, I don't know. Anybody can take this first. How do you think this game is going to go? What's the kind of look? Let's look at it from a West Ham perspective first. Mike, how are West Ham going to approach this one? And then we'll go in the back Spurs side.
I think what we'll do, we'll probably start off by pressing you lot, and then once Tottenham actually get the ball and start controlling it, we'll revert back to just sitting back and not know what we're doing on the pitch and then concede, most likely. So this seems what happens every single time. What we usually do under Potter, especially at home, we start off well, we start pressing, have a couple shots in like the first 10 minutes or whatever, and then you will never see us test the keeper again, which seems to be the trend. Happened against Chelsea, happened at pretty much every single home game last season, especially under Potter. Test the keeper first couple of times, then you don't see us again. Then we struggle to actually press any sort of chances on the opposition. So I think we'll start off trying to press you, and then after that we'll just revert back to just sitting back and looking hopeless.
Does Potter try and play a possession game, or is it direct?
Yeah.
What's his style of play been normally week to week?
So it's try and play football, and then realize he doesn't have the players to play football. End up going direct, losing the ball, and conceding. That usually how it goes.
So you don't think you don't have much hope for your team, basically?
No, not a million years.
You're saying what, Spurs are favourites for this one?
Definitely. I don't think you losing to Bournemouth and us beating Forest makes a difference. Bournemouth are a good team. You never know what Bournemouth's going to turn up, and with Forest, like you never know what Forest is going to turn up. So I think we just capitalised on like their misfortune and the fact that it wasn't all like good going there. Not everyone was on the same page. So I just think West Ham, Tottenham. I know we're at home, and I know you haven't won at our ground since Mourinho or whatever. But I don't think honestly, I don't think those records make a difference with us anymore.
You're on the floor, man, with your team.
Yeah.
Completely on the floor.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So let's talk about Spurs, how they're going to approach this. Anybody want to go first on this? You know, how is Frank going to set up for this one? We've seen how we set up against City. We saw what we did against Burnley, and then we saw what we didn't do against Bournemouth, which was a dreadful performance. Dan, what do you reckon on this one, mate? Or if you want to go first?
It's one of them games, isn't it, where West Ham seems to always, I'd say 8 times out of 10 turn up. It's like their little cup final, basically, in that aspect, because they really don't like us. And if anyone can still screw this up, Spurs have still got the capability of screwing anything up. I mean, Thomas Frank, for me, in that last game, proved he's still got a lot to learn. Because, personal opinion, I think he was a big part of the reason we lost that game. I don't think he read it very well at all. And yeah, the players were terrible as well. If we turn up and he doesn't change anything until the 75th minute, and hopefully he's got a couple of extra players now on the subs bench that could change things, or to put in the first team that could change things, and he reads the game properly. If you go player for player, that is in our favour. But that last game definitely showed us we got more than that capability of going there and doing a Spursy, because that's exactly what we did. So I think it's a game we have to take carefully. Have to take every game serious, obviously. But it is also that London derby as well, isn't it? Or one of. So I think
we didn't have a good record, Dan, last season, everyone. We were terrible in the London derbies.
No.
Under Ange.
You beat us, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's still been other times. It's still player for player. If you go on that way, we should be winning that game.
Yeah.
But with what I saw last week, it wouldn't surprise me with a draw, even if we lost it at the moment. Like I said, I still think Frank's got a bit to learn with the team, and the team also still got a bit to learn with themselves as such. That last game, yeah. It shows you that there is more than enough capability of us screwing it up well, but we should win that game 2-0.
So what's he going to do, Frank? Is he going to sit back? Is he going to attack? Is he going to play a 3 at the back? How's he going to play this one? Because I just don't know with Frank, because he's changed up most games, hasn't he?
You see, with playing West Ham, I think there's really one real player you got to watch at, and that's their right winger. What's his name? Bowen, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bowen, yeah.
I think that's the one you got to do, and he's got to mate, and Frank has now got to do, not make the same mistake he did in the last game, and that's leave their best player wide open against our worst player, basically, which he did. That's Semenyo, however you pronounce his bloody name. He absolutely schooled Porro in every which way. This is why I keep telling people Porro is not a defender. He's a crap defender. He's a wing back. He is not a fullback. They focused on that straight away. They doubled up on Kudus, took us straight out of the game completely. And Frank didn't read that for 70 minutes. That one's on Frank's head as far as I'm concerned there, because he let that happen. Now, on the other side, we got Spence there. Spence can tackle, Spence can mark, but I still think we'll need to double up on Bowen, take him out of the game, and I think you basically take West Ham out of the game. So whatever way he wants to do that, whether he does that with 5 at the back, 3 at the back, whatever you want to call it, or he plays it in a 4-3-3 or whatever way he wants to do it. Personally, I think we got to double up on Bowen, take him out of the game, and the rest of it should be there for the taking. But you got to take him out of the game.
Paqueta, not worried about Paqueta. He's been in a bit of form lately.
I'd say Bowen's the real threat. I'd say he's the biggest threat they got. Personal opinion.
But not what about you don't rate Paqueta, Dan? Do you think he's a good player?
Yeah, he's all right. But I think Bowen is the main one that I'm doubling up on to take him out of the game.
Yeah.
I think he's the main player you got to take out. Obviously, you got to watch everyone who's on there, but every team has their. This is what I call adapting game by game. You've got to adapt to every game. Some people have got a great attacking midfielder. Some people got a great midfielder. Some people got a great left wing, right wing, striker, whatever. You take that main player out of the game when you're playing against a team like West Ham, when you're playing against a team like Spurs, when you're playing against a team like Palace or whatever. You take that main player out of that game and focus on their weak spot. You can do them serious damage. And I think their serious damage is taking Bowen out of the game.
Well, they got Somerville as well. If he plays him as well on the left, he's got some pace.
Yeah,
there's another danger. Pace is always going to be a problem.
There's going to be problems everywhere, but my main focus would be focus on Bowen, get him out of the game, and I think you pretty much take West Ham a majority out of the game. As soon as you take, I mean, look what happened with us. They took Kudus out. They took us out of the game. They focused on Porro, who can't defend, come love nor money. Why do you think none of the balls went down the other side towards Spence, or hardly any? And they focused on Porro the whole time because he is an absolutely god-awful defender.
Well, he defended well against City, didn't he, that game? But it was different.
He had a few moments of blocking the ball and a tackle. Let's be real here.
I thought he was good against City. I thought he was good.
I thought he had a good game, but I didn't think his defending was nothing great. Do you honestly think he's a good defender, Porro?
No, I need to see more. I'm just talking about that game in isolation. I thought he did well against City.
It's because overall, Dan, he's a wing back. He's not a right back. They're two total different positions. Okay, a wing back has to cover his defence, but defending only his main part. He's getting forward. A right back is the one who sits. And then why is it every time we've been focused on the left-hand side, they was doing it with Ange as well, focusing on our right-hand side, should I say, down their left-hand side, focus on Porro all the time. Why? Because he was inverting, or when he was back, he can't tackle come love nor money at the best of times anyway. Or is that just a coincidence?
Nah, there's a worry. Here's a worry. Let's bring someone else in. Cookie, Sheriff, Nige, what are you thinking about this game? How do you think Frank's going to set up? Any ideas?
Go on, chaps. Go on.
Cookie?
You're muted, mate.
You all right, mate? You online? Are you there? You muted?
Yeah, sorry. I think he'll set up 4-2-3-1, just like he has done in the other away games. I think the difference you'll see on the attacking side is whether Moani and Simmons are playing or not, because I think that'll free Kudus up a lot more. You know, when you've got Johnson on the left and you're struggling in your attacking midfield areas and you're just relying on one fella to be your out ball, if you like, it's not going to work. But hopefully, you know, I don't know if Simmons and Moani will start against West Ham. I've got no idea. But I think we desperately need them in the team so that when we do recover the ball and we do have an outlet, we'll have more than one. You know, and like I say, I think that'll free Kudus up a lot more. You won't see so much double teaming on him because they'll have others to worry about as well when they're all on the pitch.
So what, are you going for a win? Spurs win here? Comfortable win?
3 or 4-0. Seriously. I think if Simmons and Moani play, you'll see a different Spurs at the weekend. Yeah. It might not be that sort of score if we don't start them. Because I think it can turn it into a very cagey game then. You know, it could be the same as it was with Kudos getting, you know, mauled by 2 or 3 players at a time whenever he picks the ball up. And then you've got no outlet again. So it'll be West Ham recovering the ball all the time, and it's up to them what they do with it. But I want to see Moani and Simmons play. A lot of people saying, "Oh no, well he won't start them," because look, at the end of the day, they're quality players. If they're fit and they're fit enough to play them. Play them. They're footballers. Play them.
Simmons, I totally agree. I think we've got a quality player there. Moane, I think people are getting a bit overexcited about. He's good.
Who's getting excited, Dan?
quite a few Spurs supporters, don't they? I mean, but he's nothing special as such, like a few people have made out. He's better than what we got, but then you look at what we got, Richarlison and Solanke. And if you actually look at his stats and everything and that, he usually starts the season quite well and then sort of disappears for the second half. But I think he's better than what we got. But with Simmons there, I'm very interested in watching him play. It's going to be interesting to see how... I mean, the Bundesliga, I'd say, is quite a physical league. Up there with the Premier League, close enough on how physical it is. So I don't think physicality is going to be so much of an issue for him. It's just, I'm just very interested to see what comes off Simmons. Is he going to make a massive impact from his first game? Time will tell in that aspect. But he's one I want to see what he can do, basically. And even how we're going to play him.
Do you think he's going to throw him in?
It wouldn't surprise me if he did. I mean, he can play on the left, he can play on the right. Last season, he actually played on the left more than he did in the middle. I say on the right, wrong word, in the middle. He actually played him on the left wing, cutting in like a Son role more than he did on the more than he did as a 10 position, basically. And he scored just as many goals and many goal assists as he did in the middle as he did on the left, basically. He looks like a very capable player. Definitely got a bit of flair, definitely got a bit of skill. So what are we going to use that on? To be coming down both flanks and then just put whoever in the middle? Or are we going to end up with Johnson on the left and Simmons in the middle and Kudos on the right, whatever? There's options there. It's going to be interesting to see what he picks. He's got a few options, I think, for a change up front.
So what's the what you're worried about this Moani bloke then, Dan? Why are you not impressed? Tell us.
Oh, it's not that I'm not impressed. I think he's good. I just don't think he's quite as quality as a few people think he is. I think he's a good player, and I think he's more than capable enough to come and score some goals in the Premier League.
Better than Richarlison, Solanke, do you think?
That's what I said at the start, which isn't bloody hard, is it? If we're going to be honest. I mean,
but you're not excited. You're not excited about him. You're not getting carried away with him.
No, not to the extent. I'm more excited about Kudos. I'm more excited about Simmons. Paulinho, yes, definitely a very good buy for us, what we needed, but I think we're going to find out halfway through the season whether his legs have gone or not. Because he's still definitely not fit yet either, I'd say. Not 100% match fit. And I think halfway through the season, we'll find out whether his age has caught up with him or not, even though he is only 30. But still another good buy for us. Moane, for me, is more of an interesting buy sort of thing. Okay, not bad. Better than what we got. Let's see how it goes. Whereas Simmons, Kudos, Paulinho, I'm just more interested in them, basically, especially Simmons and Kudos. I think they've definitely got more capability. I think Moane is a good player, but Simmons just interests me a lot more.
Fair enough. Sheriff, the derby factor, right? Because West Ham will up their game. Yeah, they will. Yeah, it's a derby. It's going to be, Spurs, they've got to match the intensity of West Ham, right? Yeah, they're going to be winning the 50-50s because I think we have a better team, player than player, quality-wise. We should be winning this game on paper, right? But games are not played on paper, right, Sheriff?
Exactly. And
no, it's the old cliche.
I think 1 or 2 in that stadium might have it in a little bit for Kudos.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. I'm sure he's going to get a load.
Yeah, do you reckon? Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
that's nearly a Sol Campbell thing, isn't it? Sort of,
It is. I mean, not the sort of thing that normally go. Well, it has happened a few times, hasn't it? Defoe and all that come to us, didn't it? Carrick. Whether
Canute.
they'd gone somewhere else before they come to us, I can't remember. But like with this game, I just want to see us go at them. It's not. Mike said they always start quick and they press, and just get in amongst them, win the ball, and do our thing. Because if we nullify them right from the kickoff, well, Mike's already said they have a go for about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. Press. If we nullify that in the first 5 minutes, then the game's ours. As far as I'm concerned, player for player, we're better than them. But it's like you said, it's not played on paper. You know, we just gonna.
We were crap against Bournemouth, you know. That was
Oh,
such
it was
a
terrible,
poor
man. I
performance.
had the misfortune to watch it. And it was misfortune. My goodness.
We got a stinker in it still.
But to be honest, we're always like that before an international break. I don't think we've won for years before an international break.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about after it, but like as long as we can get in amongst them, try and impose our authority. You know, all right, the crowd's always hostile. There. You know, it's always hostile because it's us. You know, but it's the same when they come to our place. It's a bit hostile. You know, so if we impose ourselves on them, our better players should win out. Because man for man, we're a better team than them. As you know, because you've got to remember, we brought, unlike Tottenham, we actually brought in 4 first teamers that walked straight into the first team. When have we ever done that? Never. Not that I can remember.
Not
Certainly
for a
not
long
for
time.
years. You know, it's been normally like ones for the future. They'll be all right in 10 years. You know, 5 years, whatever it was. You know, so I'm going to predict we win, like I do every week. But it's going to be closer than I think. Like 4. It's not going to be 4, but it's not going to be 4-0 or nothing like that. None of the games at their stadium are like that. I can see us do it 2 or 3-1. If we score early, then I think they're done for. Honestly, and it's like Dan said, keep Bowen quiet, keep Paqueta quiet. You know, that's our 2 main threats, them 2. That Bowen, he's like I've always liked Bowen. I'd have him at Tottenham tomorrow.
You know, there's one side of me that almost wants us to go down 1-0. Why? Because I want to see how Frank can deal with that situation with Spurs.
This is an issue, isn't it, Dan? I've been hearing about this.
Because whenever we see... when we went 1-0 down against Bournemouth, and he did not have a clue what to do. He didn't do nothing for about 70 minutes. He didn't focus on where the problem was. He didn't fix where the problem was. 2 games before then, he had brilliant, totally read the game, but he was ahead in the game. We also need to have a manager, and I think Frank's a very good manager. And people say, well, how can you grill him after 3 games? Well, I can only judge game by game, and I will judge him exactly the way that I judged Ange, basically. And he totally screwed up that last game, as far as I'm concerned. He was a big part of why we lost it, because he didn't fix up the situation quick enough. So I'm interested more on the side of what does he do to change, or what can the team do, or whatever. If we go 1-0 down and get pushed into the second half 1-0 down, I want to see where he's going to adapt and change the game as such. I haven't seen him do that yet for Spurs, but it will only be our 4th game as well. So I'm sort of interested on how can we do from going a goal down, basically.
Yeah. I think it will probably, you know, we'll want to see how we react to that, right? Because when we went 1-0 down against Bournemouth, we didn't recover. Yeah, we've always taken the lead in games and then held on, right? And other than the PSG, we blew it, didn't we? Later.
Yeah. Well, again, to me, that was a good part down to the manager. But again, that's just opinion. I think he made totally the wrong subs. But again, that's just my opinion on it. And
Dan, sorry, mate, I just got to say bye-bye to the Sheriff. He's going. Yeah. See you
Cheers
later,
for having
man.
me on, Dan.
Thanks
care,
for coming
buddy.
on, man.
Appreciate it.
Take
See you
care.
later, mate. Take care.
Have a good
Take
night. Have a good night, all.
Much love, mate.
No, sure.
See you
Yeah.
later.
See you later.
Yeah, sorry, Dan. Go on.
That's all right. I just thought that game against PSG, I thought that was partly down to him. He screwed. I don't think he made the right subs at the end, honestly. Again, personal opinion. Archie Gray touched the ball once in 20 minutes.
Yeah, they were terrible.
Definitely weren't the best idea to bring him on, I don't think. But either way, that was then. And against Bournemouth, he did nothing for 70 minutes when you could see what the two biggest problems on the pitch were a mile off from the first 5 minutes. You could see it. The fact that Kudus was getting doubled out the game and the fact that Porro was just getting absolutely cooked every 2 minutes down the side. And he'd done nothing for 70 minutes to change it. So I'm still interested to see where I do rate Frank as a manager as such in due time of what he's going to be able to do to change a game if it isn't going in our favour as such. I think that's all it comes down to, just a bit of interest as such. Obviously, I want to win the game. I don't want to concede goals, but I'm interested to, if we do concede a goal, to see where we can take it from there as such. Because I haven't seen us make a comeback yet, but it will only be the fourth game.
I've got to say bye to Mike. Mike, do you want to give us a prediction before you go? And thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. I'll say probably 2-1 Tottenham, if I'm being so honest. I'd probably either take the lead and just bottle it, or once you guys score first, it's not coming back for us. So I'd say 2-1 Tottenham. But thank you for having me on, and big up to the panel. Really, really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Big up,
Thank
mate.
you,
man.
appreciate it.
Please
Take care,
go
mate.
over, subscribe to
Take
Mike. Yeah, brilliant, man. Speak to you soon,
Take
man.
care.
Bye.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye. Look, Nige, are you excited for this one? You think this is a straightforward Spurs win? Or are you having doubts? Like, there were a few.
We're Spurs, mate. Of course, I'm having doubts. West Ham away is, like it's been said already, it's their cup final. It's not going to be an easy game. I don't think we're going to just rock up and turn them over. They always turn up against Tottenham. It doesn't matter what their form is before they play Spurs. They always turn up, especially at their place. Saying that, we should have enough quality to win the game. I am concerned that I don't think Simmons will start, just simply because we did sign him and then he went straight off on national duty. So he's not had a training session with Tottenham yet. So it does concern me. I think he may be saved for the Villarreal game on Tuesday. Maybe he'll come off the bench. Saying that, I do expect Mawani to start. He hasn't gone on national duty. He's been training with the Tottenham team, or the youngsters anyway. So he should have a little bit more time. That he should.
So you're going to
He
start
should
up
be.
top?
Hopefully, he's got to.
Who's
Isn't
going
he?
left,
Surely.
then? Who's playing left? Who's playing left wing?
You know what? I'd be more inclined to play with Richarlison now. I don't particularly want to see Johnson on the left. So, yeah, for me, I would play Mawani through the middle. Listen, given a choice, I'd play Simmons. I'm just concerned that Spurs may not. And I think Richarlison may start on the left just to have that bit of strength up there. Honestly, I don't see us losing the game, but it's not going to be straightforward. I see us going behind. Maybe coming back. It will be maybe a tight win or a draw. But I just can't wait to see Spurs again, because this 2 weeks has been horrific. It's been so dull.
Well, saying that, we
don't know
had
how
the
you
Levy news
feel,
last
but-
week, didn't we? That was a bit lively.
It was
Get
it was for 24 hours.
But we missed the football. We want to after losing to Bournemouth, we want to see a reaction. Now, I think this is a game after hearing from Mike and looking into West Ham a little bit more. As we're playing them soon. They're not in the best shape. They're really not. Their transfer window has been nothing exciting. Like Dan said, Mike says it could be in a relegation battle. Yes, there's the derby factor to think about. Of course, they're going to raise their game. But as long as Frank sets the team up in the right way, as long as the players show the right attitude, like we saw against City, we should win this game all day long, right? Quality-wise, hit them on the counter if they're going to press us. There should be space. Their midfield, if they're not going to play those young guys in there, Fernandes and the other young player they signed, they ain't got a lot of pace in that midfield. They're very, very slow. We should run all over them, really, shouldn't we? Who's going to play on the left? I don't know. You know, I would probably play Wilson. You know, we've got to start getting him in the team because Johnson's not it. I don't think Tell is it either. Would he play Richarlison there for the physicality? Maybe. I don't know. I'm interested to see how Frank's going to approach this one because, you know, Burnley one was very straightforward, right? We just had quality, too much quality for Burnley. City, Frank had a good game plan, pulled it off. We played really well. And then Bournemouth, they just completely out-tacticked us. And that is a worry. I know it's one game. It's, you know, that was, Frank didn't do anything to change in that game. And let's be real, we criticised Ange enough last season, and we got to do the same with this manager. Right?
And what could he have done though? What could he have done?
Like changed formation, changed it up. It's, you know, it wasn't working, was it? Johnson was he didn't do nothing. It wasn't working. They were doubling up on Kudos. Richarlison was getting bullied. Why couldn't they put, you know, somebody else up front? You know, have a runner off Richarlison. There was things that Frank could have done, but he chose to rely on making the subs. Yeah, and the subs came on and they didn't help much at all. It was very disappointing. The players lackluster. Yeah, they weren't on it like they were against City.
And Frank looked like looked like he lacked knowledge.
It was terrible.
For me, it was, in my opinion, it was quite an easy one to sort out.
What would you have done?
I'd have gone with 5 at the back and gone to 5-2-2-1. Easy as take Johnson off, put Danzo on. There you go. There's me 3 at the back. Right, Porro, using you as wing back. Every time they double up on you now, I've now got Romero to go over and cover your ass. So there's 2 people on him now. Right, that's him covered. Now Kudus ain't there out on his own. He's now in the middle with whoever we would have had next to him and that, and it would have given us more time to get control of the game from the back. And then when we get control of the game from the back and stop having our main totally opened up down that hand side with Porro, he actually would have had some support because every time Romero would have gone over to him, then you'd have been able to swing the other 2 over from Van der Ven and Danzo, and also Spence into the middle if you needed to. Porro was our major problem there. He was the biggest problem on our team because he's a crap defender and he is a bloody wing back at getting forward, and he got absolutely destroyed.
Kudos didn't help him. He didn't help him, did he? At all?
He tried, but he was totally marked out of the game as well, wasn't he? Yeah. So I think if he would have gone with 5 at the back then, and then 5-3-2 or 5-2-2-1, whatever way you want to put it, we could have got control from the back. And then when pressing forward, we keep the 3 defenders there. Our wing backs got more than enough capability of getting up the other end of the pitch. That is what Porro is actually best at. And then we could have got some domination into the middle in central and then pushed the game forward from there. Frank didn't do that. He done nothing. He left Porro there to get absolutely cooked. And that is a big reason why we lost that game. I think Frank got totally outmanaged there. And it almost looked like he went, and it almost looked like he went a bit numb because he didn't change anything for 70 minutes. And I think we should have changed formation to try and get some control of the game, basically. But then you're going to have Spurs fans saying, "Oh, but that we shouldn't play like that against Bournemouth. We shouldn't do this. We're Spurs. We should be doing." Shut up. Do you want to win a game or not? And sometimes you got to adapt and change around in that game to get it. Okay, if it sounds pragmatic, but we was getting absolutely destroyed, like we was away at Man City. Like we was away at Liverpool. The only thing was we should have been 3-0 down in that first half.
Yeah.
We was lucky we didn't lose that game about 6-0, 5-0, or is that an exaggeration?
No, we were terrible. We should have been 3-0 down.
Yeah. So whether it's Bournemouth we're playing against or whether it's Liverpool we're playing against, if we're getting absolutely smashed and you can say your problem is your right back because he cannot defend, you've then got to adapt to that and do something about it. You got to look at the problem, see the problem to fix the problem. And he didn't do it. And then when he did finally change things, it was almost too little too late because then we started getting into the game, but it was a little bit too late. I just think he got totally outcoached that game.
And the thing is with West Ham, they're not as good as Bournemouth, right? Set up as well, you know. So I think we'll be okay against West Ham, but we can't show that level of attitude on the pitch like we did against Bournemouth. You know, it was terrible, and Frank has got to change it. And look, we can give him a pass. It's his first defeat, right? You know, we're not going to lay into him too much. But what we want to see, we don't want to see a repeat of that. So when another decent team comes to Spurs ground, you know, on the Bournemouth level, you know, we want to see how Frank manages a game when we're under the cosh. And if they're targeting players, we want to see him be proactive on the pitch and make changes to affect the game. So, yeah, look, it's worth to see. I'm interested because I'm really interested to see Frank up against those kind of teams. Not the top
I think he's a good manager.
What? Frank?
Yeah, I think he's a good manager. It's just I'm going to judge him game by game the same way I judge Ange and every other manager. Okay, at the end of the season, I'll give him the total assessment as such. But I can still only judge by what he's seeing. In that last game, I think he screwed it up big time. So I think he deserves a bit of grilling for it. He's a professional manager, isn't he?
Yeah,
or is it just because it's only his third game, you just sort of brush it aside and ignore
no,
it like a lot of
Dan,
Spurs fans
I was very critical of that performance from Frank. And after I kind of thought about it, watched it again, it was Frank. He got it wrong. He got it wrong. I want to bring in Cookie. And there's a question, maybe Cookie want to answer this. It's from Jimmy. Big up, Jimmy. Will Frank save the best team for Villarreal game like he did versus Burnley? So we got the Champions League game, right? When is it? Next Wednesday, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, Cookie?
I don't know, Dan. I think it's one of them where we'll just have to wait and see. New manager and all that type of thing. I think we're all trying to work out, how he's gonna work out, how he's gonna perform in the league and the Champions League and throughout the season with midweek games, 2 games a week.
Yeah.
As far as the weekend goes, I'd like to see all of the new players playing, but will he just like bring them on as substitutes? Maybe. I really don't know what he's going to do, Dan. What he's going to. All I know is that he's got to manage this squad, what he's got, to get us through until January at least before we can make any additions to it. And we'll see what type of manager he is. He's gonna have to pick teams for games that are every 3 days. He's got to manage injuries. He's still got a lot of young players that are in the squad. The squad's nowhere near fully rounded. So I think it will just be a case of he will analyse who he's playing, when he's playing them, put out the team that he thinks is appropriate to win that game. A bit like he did against Burnley at home. He played a younger midfield, didn't he? He obviously thought he'd get through that game, and he did. There was a few scary moments in there that showed that maybe some of the younger players were not quite where they need to be at the moment, but it was Burnley. So I think you'll see games like that when he plays maybe lesser teams, that he'll pick maybe a team that's not the 11 that you might expect when everyone's fully fit, because he has to think about the midweek games as well.
So do you think he can risk playing a weakened lineup against West Ham, playing Champions League next
It's
week?
hard, isn't it, Dan? It's hard.
What do you think? What do you think? Who would you play?
I think he's got to be careful. I think he's got to be very, very careful.
So the home game next week against Villarreal.
It's a really hard one. Like I say, for me, just like, for me, it's just like it's play 'em. But at the end of the day, you get a couple of injuries and we're back to square one again. We are literally back to square one again.
Are you changing the lineup? If you were Frank, are you changing the lineup against West Ham? Anyone as well on the panel, in the chat as well. Are you changing that lineup? Are you not going full strength against West Ham? Or what are you doing? Or are you thinking you're playing Villarreal at home in the Champions League that you can go a bit weaker? What's the priority here for this game?
Well, I would imagine the priority would be for the league, wouldn't it? I don't know. I would have thought
start your strongest side. Start your strongest side. Hopefully, get a 2-3 goal lead. You can bring players off.
That's not ideal. Yeah.
For me, it's every one game at a time. Win the game Saturday first, and then think about Villarreal. But it does concern me. You know what this club's like. That we will rest a few players. But for me, I will play strongest side. See what we get. If we pick up an injury, we can't play on Tuesday. It is what it is. We move on. But always play the strongest team.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nige. I think it's the season's just started. You've got to get that consistency in team performance. Yes, make a couple of changes, but it's got to be the best team you've got out there. These players, and especially some of these youth players, got to get used to the system. The players there got to get used to Frank. The thing is, like, we were so used to Ange playing the same way last season. Now this season, it's different, isn't it? The players are playing differently game to game. So it's going to be interesting to see. Dan, what do you reckon? Would you rest anyone for this game, or were you going full strength?
Depending on how Paul Linear is, I might start him or leave him out. Only reason I'd say leave him out is because I don't think he's fully match fit yet, or playing for 60 minutes basically.
Yeah,
because I just don't think he looks fully match fit. I mean, being fit and match fit are two different things, aren't they? And that's just where I'm looking at the Champions League as well as such, because we've got to get those couple of points in the Champions League as well to get us to the next round. With what we've been given in the Champions League, if I'm going to be honest, we should be going through that relatively easy, or easy enough, with clubs we've been given to play against. I think there's only 2 of them there. We should really be, if I say, well, PSG will probably slaughter us anyway, because they'll be back on form by then. But with this game coming up, Simmons, I think we need him to get some game time, same as Moani. And then obviously it depends how the game goes along. I mean, do you know what? If this was another team, but with this set of players, I wouldn't be so bothered about leaving 1 or 2 players out as such. It's just the fact that it's West Ham. It's a London derby. They're going to get spiced up for it. They usually do. And I think West Ham are going to play it on a lot more physical side.
You've got to play Paulinho, man. If he's fit, he's got to play, because who else are you going to play in there? Gray, at West Ham?
That's why I said 60 minutes, basically. Yeah. I don't think he's fully match fit yet. That's the only thing with him. And do you take that risk if someone... I mean, I don't know if he is fully match fit. I just don't think he is. So do you take that risk with the person who's not fully match fit yet for playing him a whole game, or do you play him for 60 minutes sort of thing to make sure that you can have him for the next game? He's just the one I'm not sure whether he's fully match fit or not. And that's about it, basically. But with West Ham, it's going to be a physical game. Whether we got better players than them or not, they will always get stuck into that game one way or another.
Oh, they will be all over us. Yeah, you just watch. They will be all over us. They'll look like a world-class team all of a sudden. You know what? You know what they're going to do. Bowen will score, and if we're not switched on in this game mentally, we could slip up. We really could. We're not a fantastic team yet. Frank's just come here. He's just working it all out. Players are getting used to it. So I think we've got to go strong. And then, as like Nige says, Dan said as well, I think just make us subs. If we're winning, the game's quite comfortable. Just to manage the team, make sure that some of those players can play against Villarreal on the Tuesday. So, look, good question though, Jimmy. Yeah, got us talking there. That one. So, look, kind of going down to the game. Is it going to be? I had a question. Let me just bring the question up. Actually, let me just get it up on the screen. West Ham. I think I've got it. Let me check. And then we'll move on from the West Ham game, because I just want to talk a bit more about the future before we shut down the show. So former side, do derbies like this come down to less quality and more desire, and who wants it more? And it's going to be a bit of this, isn't it? I think on Saturday, who wants it more? Who's up for the fight?
Yeah, but for me, just don't get, because we're a better footballing team. For me, don't get involved in, because they want us to be getting involved in a scrap. We need to manage the game, play the football, keep possession. If we get involved in a scrappy game with them, that's when we could slip up for me. So don't get involved in it. I know it's a London derby. Keep your cool, keep your composure, and I think we win the game.
But they're going to go in hard. If Simmons is playing, they're going to go right into him. They're going to, they're going to let him know he's in for a game. It's his first game in England, going into a derby. So they're not going to mess about. Moani hasn't played for us before. I don't know what Frank's going to do, if he's going to start both Moani and Simmons. I've got a feeling he won't start both. I think he's going to probably play with Richarlison, or he'll put Moani on the left. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see, guys.
He's got that option. I mean, Moani he can play on the left.
He can, yeah. He's not a winger though. He is a forward.
He's more. He's definitely more of a forward, but he can do that job as the sort of inside forward as well, can't he? I suppose it just again it depends what Frank wants to do, doesn't it?
Depends if you want to put square pegs in round holes again, doesn't it?
Well, it wouldn't be a square peg in a round hole with him.
He's a
because he does
centre
actually
forward,
play.
Dan. He's a centre forward.
He's played on the left many a times.
Dan, he's played on the left, but he's a centre forward. Play him where he's best at. Play him centre forward.
Okay, but that's all I'm saying. He's more than capable of doing it on the left as
All
well.
this playing players out of position all the time. This is half the
Okay,
problem.
where does Simmons go then, Mark? Where does Simmons play?
He's got to play attacking central midfield, whether he's played off the left or not before.
Well, no, he's not. If you want to be like that, he's played on the left more than he's played in the middle.
But he's better for me at attacking central midfield.
But he's played on the left and scored
Whatever,
more goals.
yeah, whatever. That's fine. Okay.
Well, that's what I mean. They can do it. That's what I'm telling you.
They should. Yeah, these quality players
You're not
should be
getting what I'm
adaptable.
saying. Buy players for the positions where they play. Why keep shifting them to other positions all the time? This is half the problem with Spurs. We keep buying players that are a centre forward but can play here, or can play attacking central midfield.
A Cookie, who is playing left? Who are you playing left?
Do you know
That's
what I mean?
the problem,
it's got Richarlison, isn't it? Who else are you going to play there?
That's the same thing, isn't it? He's going from a forward.
It's the same thing because we're short as far as the squad's concerned.
Yeah.
So then you've got to work out.
Players are not there.
Right. So then what you've got to do is work out what is going to work the best for the 11. Is it going to work better with Charlison up front and Moane on the left, or is it going to work better off with someone else as the 10, as Papa Sarr there? Not that I'm saying it's going to, or Bergvall, and stick Simmons out on the left with Moane up the front, or is it going to work better with Charlison there and Simmons there? That's the manager's job to work it out. That's what he gets paid the money for. And that is why clubs do like playing players that are capable of playing in a couple of positions.
That's fine.
That's all it comes down to. It's what they're going to do with it.
They'll never get anywhere. They'll never get anywhere if they carry on doing that shit. I'm sorry.
Well, a lot of other clubs do it.
No,
I think
Spurs have been doing it for years and it's never worked or very rarely worked. Get players that play in a position that they're good at and play them there. That's how you get chemistry. That's how you get chemistry.
But then that's also going to screw you when you've got no one to play in that position and everyone can only play in one position.
Whose fault's that for not buying the players?
Well,
of the right quality. Whose fault's that?
So, right. Oh, and we can afford a team of 24 players with that right quality, can't we?
Yeah,
again, we are own. Oh, lay off, Mark. Come on, man. We are only Tottenham Hotspur. We are not Man City. We are not Liverpool.
So you're telling me now then
that
we haven't got 200 million to spend on 3 or 4 players of the right quality?
I'm not in the bank account, so I don't know. But I would have thought we've got more money than what we have.
Go,
we haven't got the sort of money or capability to build a club like Chelsea.
See you later, buddy. Thanks for coming on, mate.
All right, then, mate. See you later, chaps. Thanks for having us. Big up, chat.
See you later. Okay. No, just going back to the argument. Good players, right? Simmons, technical. They should be able to play in another position if needed. Look at the Man City players. You know what Pep does with them. He moves them here, moves them there. It's like chess pieces.
That's what I'm saying.
So yes, ideally you'd want a player to stick to a position, of course. But in this day and age, you've got to play. You can't just be so one way. You've got to have something else in your game. So I kind of get the arguments both ways. But for me, I think,
I can see how it won't, like Mark wants it to be. But the only way I can pick it up is like, well, sorry, this is 2025. This is not 1985 anymore or 1995. It don't work like that anymore. The system's changed. I mean, maybe this is why Levy also had to leave as well, because football outgrew him as such. And he was still trying to coach like he was in 2005, 2010, and times have changed. Buying players has changed. The way you do things has changed. Life goes on. Life adapts. And that's why you've got to adapt to it. And these days, a lot of teams have, they have certain players that are set for their role, but a majority of players they do have with a bit of adaptability on them, don't they? I mean, like if you really needed to in a situation, if we're totally screwed out on the left, you go and stick Van der Ven there and you go and stick Danzo in the middle because Van der Ven actually started his career out on the left.
Yeah.
Not saying that's your first choice, but sometimes
that is what adapting is all about to a game, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I'm with you. Okay, so any more questions about the West Ham game? Any more thoughts, guys? And then we're going to go back to the kind of first section where we were talking about the future, and then we'll wrap up for tonight. Any more pointers on the West Ham match? I mean, we need to win this game, don't we? Like, if we don't win it, it'll be very disappointing because West Ham are not in a good place. They're not a good side. They're not a good side. They're really
We
not.
should win it.
We cannot afford to lose this game because our next league game is away to Brighton. So last thing we want to be doing is going to Brighton with 2 defeats in a row. So yeah, it's a massive game already.
Yeah, we've got to win it. We've got to win it.
Yeah, and after that screw up against Bournemouth, it shows we've still got more than enough capability to do that as well. That's where people are a bit edgy now. Whereas if we'd have gone and done Bournemouth, we'd have gone into this one chest out, basically.
Yeah.
Now we're walking into it a bit like, yeah, we should do them and everything, but looking over the shoulder again, doing the Spurs thing, isn't it?
I think it's more the thing, the derby for me, really. I just think quality-wise, I think we should have enough, but it's the derby, it's the attitude of the players. If they, and I don't know. Let's see. Well, it's not far now, isn't it? Saturday evening. Yeah.
Was it 5:30, isn't it?
5:30, yeah. Evening kickoff. Yeah, it should be a lively one anyway. But I think we'll win. I don't think we'll thrash them like Cookie said. I think we'll win, but it won't be I think we'll get a couple of goals up and then we'll kind of control it. West Ham might get a goal. But yeah, I'll be very disappointed if we lose this game, especially on how kind of poor West Ham are looking right now. I know they got a good win at Forest. They did. But generally, they've not been playing well. And player to player, we've got a better side. Anyway, that's what I think. But guys, let's
now.
Forest
got Ange now.
Should we talk about that actually, guys? Because I think that's a good conversation to have because it's a bit of a madness, right? Ange is back, right? Ange is back.
Back
guys.
Again.
Crazy. I don't know what Forest doing. I don't get it. They are set up. They are a counter-attacking team. They have got a perfect team to counter-attack, and they have brought a manager in who just attacks. Listen, I don't think it's going to happen this season. I think Forest will do okay. Next season, I think it's going to be, car crash. I really do. I think Ange is not the right man for Forest. I might be wrong, but I think he's going to have to change the team totally from what it is now if he wants them to play the way that he wants them to play.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's like him taking over at us. I mean, if you ask me personally, I still think if you put every player together there, I still think that team is made better for a fight. If you was to put that strongest team down, I still think you look better playing 5 at the back, basically, or 3 centre backs with wing backs. I think that is our strongest part of the team. And you now go and look at that club, they're definitely much better as a counter-attacking team, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, Milenkovic, for me, he's one of the most stable centre-backs in the Premier League. One of the most consistent, one of the most stable. He's all right on the ball, but he's not a ball-playing defender. He's an out-and-out centre-back, basically. I followed him since he was Fiorentina and always wanted him at Spurs. But if he was to go and play Ange way, like any good defender, they will get absolutely destroyed. Go and give me the 2 best defenders on the planet and put them next to each other, and I bet you they would have still conceded bloody 50 goals the way Ange plays football. Go and get me that AC Milan setback. What was it? Maldini, Cafu, the other 2 in the middle. It's just gone off my head now. That AC Milan defense, they would have got totally screwed over by this. Any defense, even the best defenders on the planet, if you play with a back 4, are going to get screwed the way Ange plays football or the way he did with us. You're going to still concede 50 goals in this season. And one thing Milenkovic is not, he is not a ball-playing defender.
He better not play that high line, Ange, with that defender.
That's what I mean. He's not that. He's not that sort of player. He's more of an old school centre back, basically.
I think Forest have got a good side. I do. I think they've signed a lot of players. You know, they're a good team, right? And I don't know how this is going to go. I really don't. I mean, if Ange goes back to the way he played like with Spurs in that side, I just don't know how this is going to play out. It's going to catch a lot of those players out. They're not used to it. what is he going to do? Is Ange going to have learned from what happened at Spurs, or is he just going to go back to his beliefs of this is how we play football? Isn't he mates with that chairman, Maracas? And I heard something today that they're friends, so they're not going to fall out. I mean, it's very the way he was talking about Ange. He's a serial winner. He called him. Yeah, we're bringing in a serial winner. You know. Oh, I don't know, man.
Working with a friend is not always the smartest thing to do, is it?
No, it's not.
Working with a friend can work, but it can also be the total opposite.
He's not going to slag the board off, did he? He never slagged the board off at Spurs, did he, Ange? So Nuno, a few weeks ago, and Nuno said in his press conference that things are not the same anymore, and then a few weeks after he's gone. But I don't get this one. I don't.
It's a strange one, isn't it? I mean, they have literally sort of that team. Well, can you say any team is built to play Ange football? Basically, I don't think you can. But that team is not made to play Ange's style, and unless Ange has adapted all of a sudden, which I just have to see it to believe it. Basically, you could tell me as long as you want that he has, but I'd have to see that for 10 games to believe it. I just do think that is a really strange one for them. They've literally gone and done what we do, gone from that side of manager to that side of manager. Whereas at least with Frank, we've done a little bit of an in-betweener sort of thing. Okay, he's a bit more pragmatic than he is attacking, but he has got more than one side to his game, basically, and that he can adapt and play with the cards he's got. Whereas Ange, the only reason he even changed it a bit was because the players basically said, we need to do this in a different way, from quite a few reports I read and everything.
I don't know.
It's a strange one. I must admit, I was shocked when I saw that.
I just can't believe he's back in the Premier League. Like people said, after he lost that job, he's not getting another job. And not just any job. Nottingham Forest had a good season last year. They're in the Europa League. They've spent a lot of money again. I don't know what you guys think of that chairman. I know everyone was pissed off with him over Morgan Gibbs-White. But that guy, he's got some ambition, isn't he? He's spending the money. Yeah. He's got some passion for that club. And I know it could all go wrong. It could all go wrong, like Leeds or whatever, But
I think they could have gone and got a better manager than that.
I don't. Yeah, you could have got Mourinho.
Forest are a club I actually quite like. I mean, their history goes back. They got a good little history on and whatever. And that. I mean, you can even turn around and say they've won the Champions League back to back, or the Champions Cup.
They have.
Yeah, they've done it back to back. Something we've never touched. We've gone to a final of it, but not even Arsenal have gone and bloody done it. Yeah, they've done it back to back. Long time ago, but they still done it as such. Same as people say about us, we're winning things long time ago, but we still done it with stuff. And I don't mind Forest as a club. I've always, I don't know, that sort of. I always used to have a little soft spot for Bolton when they was in the Premier League. Why? Because I used to like
Sam Allardyce.
The way they used to play against Arsenal, I used to love it. Every time they knew they couldn't do them in any sort of skill, so they used to go out there, and at least every game they played, you'd see 2 Arsenal players come out with injured legs or whatever. They just used to go in there and go for the kneecaps, basically. I think that was just why I had that little soft spot for.
But they could play as well, Dan. Remember, they had a Kocher.
Yeah,
they could play.
They weren't a bad team, but every time they played Arsenal, they just went all guns blazing for the kneecaps, didn't they? Because they knew Arsenal were just too bloody skillful at that stage.
What was that? Rory Delap? When that Rory Delap, or was that no? Was that?
I can't remember.
With the throw-ins, wasn't it? Nige?
Yeah.
City, wasn't it? Stoke City, Rory Delap.
Yeah, who are you talking about?
Stoke used to. I was talking about Bolton, but Stoke always used to do that with Arsenal as well, didn't they? Stoke always used to get stuck into Arsenal's kneecaps as well, didn't they? But Forest are a team I've always personally liked, and I would have just thought, couldn't they have gone out and done a bit better than that? I mean, come on, the way he did win something with us last season, but bloody hell, he nearly got us relegated.
So what's his target now? Is it 7th? I saw I don't know, some journalists come out today and said that Ange must finish 7th at least.
That team is not made to play. That team is not made to play in any means or manner his way. At least we had 2 centre backs that were ball playing centre backs. They've got 1.
Milenkovic is not a ball-playing defender. He is your old-school, no-nonsense centre-back, basically, and can push it a little bit forward. He is not a
Nuno's
ball-playing
doing a good
defender.
job.
He never was.
Nuno, he was doing
Nuno
a
was
good job.
he was doing a
It
good
was-
job.
It was meant to be a personal fallout. It was meant to be a bit of a
Yeah.
personal fallout behind the lines.
Yeah, but if you're going to bring Ange in, bring him in the summer. Give him a summer with the team. Brought him in 3 games into a season.
Mm.
Crazy.
You don't
Well-
think it's going to go well, Nige? You think they're going to be struggling?
No, I think they'll be all right this season. I think they finished 10th, 11th, but I don't see them finishing in the top 10 now.
Can they win the Europa?
Next season's going to... Nah,
Why?
don't think so.
Why not?
Well, don't know. I just don't see it. I just think that they haven't got the right balance of a team to go and attack
Look,
teams. So
let me
they could
look at
do
their
it
team
like
up. Look at
Spurs
their
did
team.
and
Look at
board
their team.
border
Look at their-
pants off teams.
That team could win the
Yeah,
Europa
that side
Cup,
is
in my
half decent.
opinion. Yeah. Well, why do I say it can win the Europa Cup? Because it's a little 2-tier cup. Whether people want to be honest or not, the Europa Cup was easier to win than the bloody League Cup, was it not? Look at the teams you had to play in the League Cup compared to the Europa Cup. The Europa Cup is now just a 2-tier cup. The only reason it's relevant to practically any team is because it gets you Champions League. Money-wise, it doesn't bring it in unless you win it to get to the Champions League as such. It is only the Champions League bit at the end of the cup. What clubs want on it more than anything. That is where you get the money off of, and that. The actual cup itself, it is the 2-tier European Cup now. It's not as powerful as the UEFA Cup used to be, in my opinion. And now where the teams don't come down from the Champions League, I mean, look how we went through that. Really, we played what? We played Galatasaray, who's a good team, absolutely schooled us in every which way. Roma, good team, but they was going probably through the worst way I've seen them play in like 20-odd years, basically. And then apart from that, even Man United at the end, we was playing a team that was in the bottom 15 in the Premier League.
No, it wasn't a tough run, man. That Europa League was not a tough run at all.
No, it was not. That League Cup was harder than the bloody Europa Cup.
Yeah.
So are we saying that Ange can win this Europa League with Nottingham Forest with that team?
I don't see why not.
I actually look at the midfield as decent.
It's good.
I take their midfield in front of ours. I
What's
like
that bloke's name? Anderson. He's been playing for England.
Yeah,
Tidy
really
player.
good player. Really good player.
Then they've got Douglas Luiz, Morgan Gibbs White. They've got Chris, what's his name? Wood scoring for fun. They've got the centre backs. They've got the full backs. They've brought some strength in depth. They've spent a lot of money this summer, and they've brought in a lot. Let me bring home their players. I've got a list of them. Here we go. Who they've signed? I think this is Forest.
McAtee as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at what they've brought in. Yeah. McAtee. They bought that French forward that we were linked to earlier in the window.
Oh yeah, Calmuendo. Yeah, they
Douglas
might do okay.
Luiz.
They might do okay.
He's not a bad player. I'm not saying he's great, but he's definitely not a bad player either.
Yeah.
Ange will turn him shit though. You know. You can look at them on
see why
paper and say they're all good, but Ange will turn them shit.
Guys, hey, it's a crazy one, eh? And then we're going to play him. You know, I don't know when we're playing Forest, but that's going to be a lively one. What did I see? What's that?
This is where we're going to see whether Ange is anything going to change. I mean, that's what we're sitting there questioning. I think we're all pretty sure that nothing's really going to change with the way he plays football. But there is that side of you where you just think, did he learn something? Did he actually learn something at the end? I mean, I must admit, I never thought I'd see him back in the Premier League again. I thought we'd be lucky if he get. I mean, they don't even want him up at bloody Celtic, for God's sake. So I can't believe it.
I can't believe he's back.
I do struggle to think, couldn't Forest have actually gone out and got a more stable manager? I don't know. It was just a strange one, proper strange one, in my opinion. That one, proper weird one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the complete style of play is going to change. Ange's not going to change, is he? For no one. He's not. I know he did it in the Europa League, but we're going to see that high line, inverted fullbacks going for it. It's just who we are, mate.
And now you're going to have one of the more solid centre-back pairing in the Premier League actually just
all of a sudden fall to pieces.
That's your
Because
prediction?
neither of them as quick as Van der Ven.
Yeah.
And Milenkovic ain't good at going forward with a ball. Like I say, he's an old school defender. I mean, the other fella, what's his name?
Murillo.
Murillo. Now he's a ball playing defender, but he ain't as quick as Van der Ven.
I'm actually looking forward to playing them now under Ange. Yeah. Forest.
What sort of, if they, when they come to our ground, do you reckon they'll get a, do you reckon Ange get a welcoming sort of thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
He will.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a lot of fans, Ange fans. We saw it when we won that final.
Mm.
You know, season 3 and all of that.
Yeah. No, I think he'll get a good welcoming at Spurs, and fair play, he won the cup there. But for me, he had to go. I think he's one of the worst managers I've seen in the Premier League, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but that's just my opinion. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do with Forest.
Yeah, it will be.
Yes.
I'm pleased he's there and not at our club. Okay, let's just wrap it up with one more question tonight, guys. It's getting late. What I wanted to say, let me bring it up actually. Get that question up because we didn't quite finish it in the first half. I just got carried away on that one question. Let's have a look. Where is it now? So, I know we kind of touched on it about where the blame lies, ENIC and Levy. You know, let's talk about that one quickly. So when we talk about Tottenham falling short season after season, does the blame lie more with ENIC's ownership or Levy's decision making? Now, this is where I'm seeing so many different opinions on, you know, because obviously Levy left. There's been a lot of praise of Levy since he's gone. Yeah, all over social media, the press, you know, Levy, amazing businessman. You know, I think there's more people praising him than him failing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, guys. What do you get the feeling amongst kind of people out there that Levy's getting a lot more praise than maybe I expected?
I think it's a difficult one, isn't it? For me, I just think obviously we're not party to everything that's happening. So obviously we're looking in. Levy's the face. So when we don't get the transfers right, we blame Levy, which is natural, isn't it? Just like when a manager's doing shit, we blame the manager. Very rarely blame the players or the board or whatever. Most of the time, it's the manager who's in charge. So because Levy's fronting it up, when we don't get players in that we want, or when we mess around with transfers or whatever, we blame Levy. We don't know what's going on above him. We don't know whether ENIC is saying, you've got 50 million for this player, and Levy's going back and saying, well, the price is 60. And ENIC going, well, you've got 50, so make it work. We just don't know that. So I think Levy obviously needs to take a big slice of the blame, as do ENIC. And this is why I think for me, as I said earlier, it's interesting to see now what ENIC do going forward. Because a leopard doesn't change the spots. And they might put up 100 million in one transfer window, but are they going to do that in the next one and the next one and the next one? So
Nige, you jump to the next question, so we might as well just link them both in. So with Levy gone, new board stepping in, what are fans honestly expecting now? A switch to prioritising the team or just more of the same? Predictions, guys, how is this going to play out? We hear about a £100 million investment into the squad. We could have done with that in the summer. Don't know why now. Maybe they were waiting for Levy to go.
Why did they leave it till now? Why didn't they just do it at the start of the window even?
Exactly. It's all very strange what's going on with all of this. There's been a big fallout. They've pushed Levy out. I know they have. I think that's what's happened. And I don't know that we don't all know the exact details. You know, lots of people are saying different things about this. But, you know, I'm happy he's gone. Don't get me wrong. Really happy he's gone. I think we need a change. You know, we need somebody, a different approach. Somebody who's going to prioritise the football other than the business. Yeah. Like we've all said earlier in the show. But for me, ENIC don't get away scot-free, you know, because they're the ones, they're the owners. And now they're acting like, oh, you know, now they want to prioritise sporting success. Yeah. Well, what about the last 25 years? Was it just about profit then? And now they, you know, made their profit. Now they want to take it in a different direction. Well, maybe, as you said, we'll see it work out.
Maybe Levy was the perfect man for the job they wanted at that time. And that was getting Spurs to as big as you can on the business side as such. Because like I said, apart from building that hotel there and then maybe getting us, say, 60 events a year instead of 32 events
in a year down at the stadium, whatever. I don't really see on a business side how you can really make Spurs any bigger. We are one of the biggest, most stable clubs on this planet when it comes to what happens off the pitch and the way we're running everything. So the only way now I see it, unless someone shows me another way, that you can now make Spurs bigger and get the income bigger is by making us bigger as the football club now, i.e. the sponsors that would come in and whatever else. Say, for instance, we don't sell the name of the stadium for another 2 years. Just an example. If we was to sell it now, we'd sell it for this much. But if we say pump 200 million into the club, get some good 50 million pound players in there all round, we don't need to go for 100 million pound players yet. Then all of a sudden, whoever comes in to buy the name of the name of the stadium, the naming rights to the stadium, all of a sudden it goes up by 10% or whatever. Random ideas, I know, but I think the only way you can really make Spurs bigger now is to actually get them involved, properly involved on the football side, maybe even winning things and that. I think that is the next stage. What happened with it? I personally think this goes back a bit deeper than overnight, because I don't think it's a coincidence that Levy had that interview with Gary Neville and turned around and said, I'll be more appreciated when I'm gone. I'm sorry. For me, I don't think that was a coincidence. I think that was a little fuck you dig at everybody else, pardon the phrase.
Yeah.
In its own little way, sort of thing. I think it was its own little dig at everyone in its own little way. And if anyone just wants to be honest, the reason it looks like I stick up for him more than want him out is because I just try and see both sides. But I just see so many people just so set on that side that it can only be that one way. And okay, and if Levy's that bad and everything and this and that, but then if he's going to get the blame for everything that goes wrong, then he's got to get the credit for what goes right, as far as I'm concerned.
Dan, all my videos all summer have been about Levy and the board, man. Most of them about calling them out.
But
both.
But Dan, you've still sat here. Yeah, but you've still sat here and also said you got to give him credit when it's due as well, though.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people, Eze, it's his fault. Morgan Gibbs-White, it's his fault. Oh, Simmons, no, someone else had something to do with that. No, that couldn't have been Levy, could it? Or Mane on the last, no, definitely weren't Levy. It weren't nothing to do with it. Oh, no, but Eze, 100% his fault. And that's just where I feel a lot of Spurs fans have been very narrow-minded with him. I do feel he's become a very easy scapegoat, down to his own fault, because I do feel a lot of the deals were down to his fault. But on the other side, we honestly don't know what went on behind the lines. A lot of people like to use the pyramid effect as such, like the problem starts at the top and everything else with the who gets picked, who gets bought, this and that and everything else. Well, if you want to go like that, then Levy wasn't at the top. He might have been the next man down, but Levy wasn't the one who could sit there and say, do you know what? There's 200 million, spend it. He ain't got that capability. He ain't got that money. He don't own the club like that. That's Lewis who had the power to do that at any time, being a multi-billionaire.
Yeah,
so was Levy. Yeah, so was Levy actually just doing what he could with what he was given? We just don't know. I tell you what will be interesting is if he actually writes an autobiography. I will read it because you might actually find out some interesting stuff there. This is where I think we find out in 12 months, like I said to you at the start, how bad Levy was or how bad Levy actually wasn't. I just think he's taken them as far on the business side as they can.
Yeah.
They now see that the next way to make money is to get us bigger on the football side again, because we're as big as we can get on that side.
Yeah.
And maybe they're going to take it to there. But I personally think someone's going to come in within the next 12 months and buy at least 25% of the club, or they're going to come in and buy the club. The fact that they've turned around and said Spurs are not for sale is just total BS. I mean, that's one of the oldest tricks in manipulating it as you can, isn't it? Oh, it's not for sale. The player's not for sale. Okay, they wanted 50 million. He's not for sale. There's 60 million as such. It's one of the oldest manipulating tricks in the book to just blatantly say that it is not for sale.
So, Dan, do you think they want to sell?
It wouldn't surprise me if they're looking at it. I don't think it's a priority for them, but I think they're definitely willing to accept a decent deal if it comes through. And when it comes to that one, whoever comes in has got to have some serious money in their back pocket, or whatever group of people come in and do it. And thank you to Daniel Levy,
The foundations are there. Everything is there. This is why I say Spurs are a sleeping giant. Whoever comes in and buys Spurs is going to be a big bit of money on there, but as all they've then got to do is put the money on the players. They haven't got to worry about a single other thing. You look at Newcastle, for instance. Why can't they get nowhere? They are going to get nowhere fast unless they get in that Champions League 3-4 years on the trot. It's not about winning League Cups and FA Cups for them to be able to spend their money. They need to get into the Champions League to spend their money. We don't even need to do that.
So what do you want to see, guys? The next, for me, it's about the transfer windows, right? The next transfer windows that will show us if there's going to be a change. Obviously, this window's been better, right? It's been an improvement. There's still gaps in this squad. Yeah, we didn't get that left winger. We did, that we all know which players we need still to improve it, and it's going to take a few transfer windows. So for me, I want to see how they behave in the transfer window. I hope they don't mess about. Yeah, like Levy dragging out deals on and on and on. I just want them to be decisive in the window. If they want to play, go out and get him. Yeah, don't mess about. And also another thing, I think it might have been Nige. I'm not sure about who said this earlier about it's about shifting the players as well. Don't we struggle to get them off our books? That's just been a massive problem, isn't it, over the years?
We wait too long to sell them, don't we? We get them to the point where they're almost unsellable, don't we? We hang on to them that long. Whereas, say, Chelsea or other clubs or City, okay, that was a bit of a dodgy season. No, that season was a bit of an improve. You're gone, baked potato. See you later. We seem to say, right, we give you another season and another season and another season to the point where you can't even give the bloody player away. I mean, the question I'll ask you two quickly then. If Spurs do get sold, are you bothered particularly where it goes to? Because the thing I've been seeing a lot of in chats and a lot of on X and a lot of on Facebook and other things, and this is the thing that makes me laugh more than anything. People have been going on for ages. I want Levy out. I want Enoch out, this and that. And all of a sudden you're starting to say, yeah, but I don't want oil money. I don't want this. I don't want that. Oh, no, we're a religious club. I don't want them sort of people because it's a different religion. I've seen a lot of people actually complain about religion, for God's sake. Yeah. Since when is Spurs a bloody religion? It's a football club. Religion is totally irrelevant to me on this one. Yeah. And where the money's come from, I don't care if it's blood money or oil money. As long as it comes into the club and goes to the football, I couldn't care less. But I've seen a lot of people talk about bloody religion and oil money and what they don't want their club to be run like. Well, if you don't want your club run like Chelsea, Ben as, and you don't want it run like City, or you don't want it run like Paris Saint-Germain, and you want it run legit, then maybe some people should have just shut up and been happy with Daniel Levy then, because that is basically what he did, wasn't it? So now we've got a chance that the club might get sold. You've got Spurs fans coming in talking about bloody religion and dirty money, for God's sake. I mean, does that bother either of you two? Because I know neither has got anything in that I care about. As long as whoever comes in wants to play bloody football and win it, that's all I care.
Yeah, I don't care, to be honest. I just want Spurs to win as much as they can. I've seen that, Dan. I think I received a message about it as well, that people weren't keen on, a type of owner coming in. Would prefer maybe an American owner, or I don't know. All these owners, I'm sure they've got something bad in the past. But I don't know. I just want Spurs to be as successful as possible. The club's there. It's like you said, Dan, the club's waiting to explode, right? With right leadership, right investment, going and being brave in the transfer market, backing the managers, picking the right manager as well, as it's not just the players. It's about sticking with the manager, making sure you got the right manager there. Scouting's got to improve, recruitment.
Got to have the right scouts, haven't we?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot what we can improve.
You can spend 500 million, but if you don't spend it on the right bloody players, just makes it irrelevant.
See what Man
again,
United,
doesn't it?
Look at Man United, all the money they blow.
But the thing that just shocks me is when I read it on how many people on Levy out and this and that, and I look on the Levy out sites on Facebook and that, all of a sudden all having debates over whether whoever owns us can't be a certain religion or can't be a certain... What religion is Spurs? No, we are just in a northern part of bloody London, which is considered a Jewish community as such. Football... The club is not a religion. It's just got a religion circled around it because of the bloody area. And people saying that they don't want these owners because it clashes with what religion this club is bloody meant to be.
and other people saying, I don't want oil money in there. And they said, oh, well, what do you want? You are not going to beat the likes of Chelsea, City, and Paris Saint-Germain's and every other clubs out there, and even Liverpool's and that go out and get their money the way they do. If you can't beat it, you got to join it, and I just don't get where people. What do you want?
The thing is, with this fan base, they're always going to fight. There's always going to be a divide. There's always going to be debates. What was it last week? It was about the transfer window, right? So people who were happy with the transfer window were calling out the people who weren't. Why aren't they never happy? You know, this is the first time in all these years we signed 4 first-team players. And then the vice versa. People were calling out the people who were happy. It never ends, does it? It never ends.
No. You're right. I just think it's going to be less divided now, because I think Levy was enough to split it up into 8 different ways as such. Like you're far Levy in, you're far Levy out, you're little bit Levy out, you're little bit Levy in, you're man on the fence, whatever, and that. Whereas this one, I think, is a bit more less divided, if you get what I mean.
But Dan and Nige, isn't it like so great? We don't have to have that conversation about Levy anymore. Yeah, it's
hopefully
just
not.
Yeah,
Soon.
yeah. Look, it's good to not have to talk about him for a little while.
There's going to be comparisons, Dan. Everything that happens now for the next year or so, there's going to be comparisons to
like
Levy.
with Ange and Frank.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
look at Ange, yeah.
Because you got to. If you want to look at how you are doing now, you've got to look at how you were doing a year or two in the past. You've got to compare it, haven't you? And that's whether you see you're doing better or you're doing worse. Again, it's just I just can't see how people have tried making this even down to a bloody religious thing, let alone the bloody money. I'm like, really, do you care?
People do, man. They really do, about who takes over their football club.
Because these owners are a certain religion, which makes it totally irrelevant as far as I'm concerned to the football club. It doesn't make the football club that. They don't want these owners because they're a certain religion, but they'd accept those owners because they're no religion or whatever. And I'm just like, what the religion got to do with it? I don't care about dirty money either. Just go and do a Chelsea, go and do a Man City, go and do whatever. Go with the flow, because you're never going to beat it a straight way, are you? Doing everything straight and honest. It's proven you ain't doing that.
So do we think?
Isn't it?
Sorry, Nige, go for it, mate.
No, I was going to say it's difficult because, like in football, whatever you do, there's always going to be a section of the fan base that aren't going to be happy. So it is what it is. You know, I haven't got an issue with it. Whoever takes us over, I don't care. I just want to see us winning. And if we can be challenging, if we can be on the top table, then I'm happy.
That's all I care about, mate. That is all I care about. Like I say, bloody fly the money over from Colombia for all I care. As long as it goes and gets spent on the bloody football club, i.e. the football side of it, I don't care where that money comes from. I don't care what religion they are.
I'm with you, man. I'm definitely with you. So just to wrap it up, do we think things will get better now? Or we just don't know? It's too early to know. Or what if you had to make a prediction, now that we've had this change with Levy out, we've got Vinay there, Charrington overseeing it all. You know, you're hoping that the football decisions are made by footballing people. We always speak about this. Yeah. What is your hunch with this, guys? I know it's difficult because we haven't seen it before. What is your hunch? People in the chat as well. Where is this going to go?
I think it gets better, but I don't think it's going to get better quickly. If we are going to get sold, I don't see Enoch pumping a load of money into the club because they're just chucking money down the drain. So I think it's all going to be a question of if and when we get sold. So it gets better, but not overnight. This might be like 18 months, 2 years before we really see any like fruits come.
No, I agree with what you said. Basically, for me, it's sort of two ways. I agree with what you said earlier as well, Dan, in the aspect of when it comes to January, I think is where we see if this club means a bit of business or not.
Yeah.
Also, up until January, maybe sort of contract out or two, because there is no way Van der Ven should be on less money than Archie bloody Gray.
Yeah, definitely.
A couple of things like that. And I think this is where we'll see within 12 months.
Ambition. That's it.
Yeah.
Ambition.
Yeah. Whether they're looking at selling or whether they're looking at doing their own thing. And if they're looking at hanging on to it and building the club as such, I honestly don't think you're going to see that much of a big difference. okay, I think you'll see a couple of transfers go through that wouldn't have, but I don't think you'll see a massive difference that'll turn us into this regular Champions League, fighting for the cups, fighting for the league team as such, club. Whereas if we sell up, as long as they're willing to put the money into the football side, we can go as far as we can go, because we've got everything every other club on this planet has got and more. When it comes to the boundary, when it comes to the basement that Levy has built for us, basically. So if they hang on to us because they want to get the club worth more money, I think you'll see an improvement to an extent, but I don't think it will be as major as people want.
What they have said, well, I've heard, and this is from whatever I've seen in the press, that Joe Lewis, his kids, grandkids, want to play a bigger part into this, and they want Spurs to do well. If that's the true, then the proof is in what they spend in the transfer market. That's it, isn't it? And how they support Frank. We get to January, if we're still in competitions, we've got a chance to win something. We're a couple of players short, a couple of injuries. We will see if the club mean business in January.
But what he's doing well. What you call doing well, what I call doing well, what Nigel's doing well might be three total different things.
Yeah,
they might look at it and just say doing well is finishing in the Champions League every year without fail, and maybe with a little cup on the side. Which, when you look at that,
but this realistic,
no
Dan,
Levy was it?
But realistically, Dan, what are we really looking to achieve this season? Frank's first season, what is realistic for this team? You know, what is it? What is realistic? We've got to be sensible here, isn't it? Really, what we can achieve in our first season with Frank. We were 17th last year. Got new players to adjust, new manager. You know, what is realistic as a kind of realistic finishing position? You know, I don't know, Dan. Nige? What is it?
I think if injuries go in our favour and we manage to pull in at least another good player in January, I think we can look at a top 7, top 6 even, top 6. Okay. But then we've also, have we got the size of a squad to go about? Like I was saying earlier, we have not got that power. We are not that powerful club yet that can have a cover for every position where there's no major drop-off. I mean, look in the middle, we're talking about a drop-off from Paulinho to Archie bloody Gray, for God's sake. Or on the left, you're talking about playing a Till or a Johnson there or whatever. So it's going to come down to a lot of favours, I think, for us, whether it goes our way or not in the aspect of injuries and that. But I think if we focused on the league and get the best out of what we can on the Champions League, I think we can get top 6 and have a respectable cup run.
Fair enough.
Top 6, top 7 sort of thing, and have a respectable cup run.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I think, why not?
Great.
Yeah. I don't know if we will. I'll have to see. But, you know, we could, depending on the, you know, what competitions we're still in. You know, we don't know, do we? It's really hard to kind of predict how this is going to go. We've seen some good from Frank. We've seen some bad. So it's so early, isn't it? Let's see how it plays out. Let's come back to this conversation probably by near Christmas time, see where we're at, where we're all those, and seeing Frank manage the, you know, multiple competitions, you know, domestic cups, Champions League, Premier League, tough games, injuries. How's he going to deal with it? We don't know.
He's never done
yet.
Champions League, has he?
No.
So maybe this West Ham game for him won't be all as important as his first Champions League game.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though obviously every league game's important as such, but obviously he's going to want to go in there into the Champions League, his first ever Champions League game, with a bang, isn't he?
Of course. Yeah. We're all looking forward to it.
I would have thought so as such, isn't it? I mean, who is it? Villarreal, isn't it?
Yeah. Winnable game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think it is.
Very
I think
much
in the next 3 months, I think the best we can do is sit back and just go with a flow and judge it game by game, basically. Like, yeah, his first 2 games really good. His third game, I thought he got absolutely cooked and he was terrible. Let's just hope the next ones are better as such. And I think we can just judge it game by game. And then when it comes to January, I think that is where, even though it's harder to buy players, it's still not impossible to buy players. That is where I think you can see if the club means a bit of business, if it walks over to Man City and Savinho ain't playing regular and wants to play, and we go in and say, right, there's 70 million. In other words, put the money on the bloody table, because it is a big part of a transfer. It's not the only part, but if you don't give the club the money they want, you're not going to get that player no matter what, are you? So
Instead of piss balling about with 5 million, 2 million, or 7 million, whatever, just go and give the club what they want for the money and sort everything else out.
And that will be a difference. That will be a difference. Yeah, that's what we want to see. Yeah, no messing about, no pissing about. If they want a player, pay the money that their club are asking for, and don't lose out. Guys, I'm going to wrap up now. But everyone in the chat, please smash the like button. Much appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't. Please subscribe to Danny. Please subscribe to Nige as well. Links are in the chat. Please subscribe to the two Marks and Mike's West Ham fan who joined us earlier. Much appreciated. Big up to everyone for watching. Dan, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Really,
thanks for having
really
us on, mate. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. Cheers, man. And Nige, mate, thank you as well. And look, we'll be. I don't know what we're doing next week now, mate, because we got
Wednesday,
the Champions League game. Yeah, I know. I don't know if I'm working as well. So I'll talk to you, mate. I'll talk to you.
What's that? When's Champions League game? That's next
Tuesday.
week, isn't it? Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday.
And that's on Amazon, if I remember right.
Is it? Amazon one?
Yeah, I think that's actually on Amazon, that one. I don't think it's on TNT. Or it might be on both. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon.
Yeah, well, we'll see, man. Games are coming back. But anyway, big up everyone watching. Thank you so much. And thank you for all your comments and watching throughout the evening. We'll be back next week at some point. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And as always, come on, you Spurs. Cheers.
Spurs.
Right.